Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Sportz Truth in the year of our Lord 2025. And all of you know what that means. Say it with me. We are live. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, www.weLikeSportsPC.com proudly presents to you its podcast tag team champions of the world, the Cleat Geek Mike Valentine, Gabriel Babyface Esparza, and we are the 643 and out guys, and you're listening to the Sportz Truth. Gabriel, buddy, how has the week treated you since we last saw you, sir?
Hello, Michael. So far, so good. Don't want to jinx it, unlike my Red Sox.
Well, we'll talk about your Red Sox here in a little bit. I actually am going to pick one of your Red Sox here when we talk about our NL and AL All-Star selections. So maybe that'll help you with your losing Red Sox a little bit. It'll help ease the blow. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So he's like, well, if you say so, buddy. So, all right. So, ladies and gentlemen, we actually have two different guests on with us today. Should be a fantastic show. We'll get to both of those guests here in both the second and the third segments of the show today. We're going to do NBA playoffs first, then we're going to do MLB, and then we are going to do NFL. So, without further ado, you know what's got to happen here. We need to do the walk-up music.
Are you ready? 20 seconds start now. Ten seconds remaining. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Time's up.
Oh, there we go. There's that swing music. Turn that down just a little bit. Gabriel, how does that sound, buddy?
I like it.
All right, he likes it, man. And you know what? If Gabriel likes it, then everybody should like it. So that's the way we're working today. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into some NBA Finals talk. We'll do that right away here in just a moment. We'll talk about the ratings. We'll talk about SGA. We will talk about all kinds of stuff with the NBA. Let me flip the page here, looking at our MLB stuff that we'll be talking about in our second segment. And that will be the All-Star game. That will be a couple questions on that. That'll be playoff chances that we'll look at. Yes, we're already looking at playoff chances. We'll see if your team is on the good or the bad side of that register. And then we'll talk about the Yankees and the Cubs both, because our two guests with us, one is a Yankees guy and one is a Cubs and Braves guy. So, what's the matter, Gabriel?
No, it's all good. We won the series. It's all good.
All right, and then we're going to jump into four-down territory. We're going to look at the Bengals, the Packers. We're going to do over and unders again this time, except 8.5 wins. Then we're going to focus the rest of the show on ESPN, on politics, Ryan Clark, RG3, and some crazy guy. What's his name again? I don't know. Cheese will tell me. Oh, wait. I know. Aaron Rodgers. So we'll get to all of that here in just a few moments with both of our special guests, Anthony and Cheese. All right, buddy. So as we dive in here, there's been, what, 2 NBA playoff games, right?
Yes, we're at 1-1.
Okay, we're at 1-1. So we're pretty much back to square one, right? I don't know, these Arizona allergies have got me a little bit here. I'm going to have to wipe my face and, yeah. Anyway, so have you watched both games?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, see, I've not watched anything yet. You pretty much know this already as far as that part goes. But let's look at the ratings, though. That's why I was asking you if you've watched these games. So it's The rating so far, I've got an average of 4.7 or 8.9 million viewers on ABC, which of course, big thing. ABC right there with us. Everybody can pretty much get ABC. It was the least watched game one since 1998. If you take out the COVID years, of course, we were all in the house, so we had nothing else better to do than to watch TV. So those ratings are a little skewed. But all of that, so it's down 19% from last year when Boston and Dallas played. Gabriel, what's the better matchup in your opinion, Boston and Dallas from last year or the OKC and Indiana matchup we have this year?
Oh, I like this question. I liked last year a lot. We had Irving Doncic, and that was a fun Mavs team to watch. And then we had, from the Celtics perspective, are they going to get it done? Can Jason Tatum be the guy to get it done? And I would argue the answer to that is still no. He just happens to play on a really great Boston team at the time, and we saw what happened this year. So I say that to say I like this Pacers City matchup though a lot because they're both team oriented. Not that Boston isn't, but you get what I'm saying. Boston has two superstars where the Pacers, it's like, well, you say there's Halliburton and SGA, and it's like, well, yeah, but the star is really the team. And so from that standpoint, I prefer this series much more, obviously. But as is the case on this show quite often, Michael, no one agrees with me.
I'm sorry, what'd you say? No, I'm just kidding. All right, buddy. So, well, you know what? You'll have two more people who probably won't agree with you either. They're coming up here in just a few minutes. So I can't wait for us all to gang up on you. It sounds like a great time to me. So according to the Nielsen ratings, you've got OKC as the 25th largest market in the NBA, and you have Indiana as the 47th largest market in the NBA. Not real great numbers as far as either of those two go. But here's my question for you, Gabriel. Do you really think it is market size, or is it the greatness of the play, or how the series goes and stuff like that? Is it the basketball on the court, or is it the market size in the cities?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's all market size. I don't know where Minneapolis would rank on there, but that's certainly not the largest of market sizes. And Denver as well, and they have Jokic though, and they have Anthony Edwards. That's the big difference. So SGA is certainly a superstar, but Jokic, he's at another level. Anthony Edwards, he's a loud personality. Whether he's doing something foolish or not, you know what he's doing, and he's someone whose play and the way he conducts and carries himself, he's going to attract eyeballs. So for me, it has more to do with that, where it's OKC. It's like, all right, that's just a juggernaut team, and to speak to your question even more directly, they do a really good job of putting the game out of hand by the first quarter, and we then cruise for the rest of the three. That's what OKC does, and that's what they should do. And then Indiana Pacers, they're a team where they sometimes come out really flat, and then other times you see, oh my goodness, this team can just flip it, turn it on at any moment that they'd like. So it's different. It's different, and I understand why the ratings aren't what they are, but I think my solution is long term. The NBA needs to say, look, this is actually a really great product for all of the NBA isn't what it used to be, or all the NBA is anymore is 3-point shooting. There's no low post game, there's no this or that. OKC Indiana is the complete opposite of what people are complaining against. So in theory, this should be doing really great, but it's not, because of a lot of what you've said already. So for me, this is actually an opportunity for growth for the NBA to not be beholden to big market teams.
You're selling this to me a little bit. I may have to check some of this out, because you're 100% right. This is what I have been complaining about personally, is the lack of defense, the lack of a low post, the lack of, it's just run, slam, or it's or it's run to the halfway point, and somewhere between the halfway line and the 3-point line, you just chuck up a shot and cross your fingers, right? So I don't know. Maybe I'll have to tune into this if you're saying it's a little bit better game than that. That intrigues me a little bit. The NBA should be sending you a check, sir. That's all of our fans out there are probably intrigued a little bit now, like I am. So maybe you can get a residual from them. So it was viewed that there are a couple of positives from the NBA and its ratings. Let's not do all negative here. So it was viewed by 3 times more viewers than the number 2 show. All right. So it wasn't even close as far as the ratings part goes, from like a 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 type standard. And then the second thing that's positive, it got 500 million views on social media. So here's my final question to you about this particular topic, and then we'll move on talking about SGA and reaching 3,000 points here. Is it not that it's not a popular NBA Finals, or is it just that we view it differently because of social media?
That'll have a big part to do with it. But at the same time, if it was, and this won't ever happen because, both teams can't get their act together. But if it was New York and Los Angeles, we'd see the traditional metrics do significantly better, I think. And I don't, there I am being bold again. so I say that to say, for sure, the social media aspect has a lot to do with why, with the continuing trends away from cable. But don't get that mistaken. The traditional metrics, they still hold their weight. They're still going to do very well when the teams that tend to do well in those spots when they're involved. So for me, you can still do an apples to apples comparison to an extent, but it's definitely shifting. I don't know 10, 15 years from now what that might look like, but I do have a feeling, I do have an inclination that shows like this will continue to do well on the YouTubes and Rumbles of the world, where you don't need to hope to land a contract at Fox Sports, at the ESPN. It's like, well, we're doing our thing on YouTube, and we're going to continue to do our thing on YouTube, and we're going to do better than those other former mentioned entities.
So, we're going to go ahead and plug this thing real quick then, since you've done a nice segue for us. What is our YouTube channel? Maddie, buddy, I will give you all the credit in the world. I didn't do as much on it this week as I have in weeks past. You were carrying that weight load. You were doing a lot of shorts and things like that for us on our YouTube channel. What is that, and where can people view us at, buddy?
Yes, well, first right here on the on X. So that is where you do all that work at the Sportz Truth, and then on YouTube.
Stop it.
Oh, I'm just.
It's not about me, sir. It's not about me. It's about you, man. Stop making it about me. It's about you, buddy. You are killing that YouTube channel over there. And by the way, Anthony, I do see you off stage, so I got you out there. I know you can hear me, so that's cool. Appreciate you coming on so early. We'll get to you guys here in just a moment when the NBA segment is over. If you could put some light on yourself, though, that'd be fantastic. I can barely see you with the light that you've got now. So anyway, Gabriel, where can fans find us at on our YouTube channel?
Yes, the YouTube channel Sportz Truth. That's with a Z though. At the Sportz Truth Pod.
All right. So at the Sportz Truth Pod, you can also do on our YouTube is the 643 and out pod as well. It'll come up on both of those if you just simply put those in the search bar. That will happen for you. Much better, sir. Much better. All right. SGA became the 12th player to reach 3,000 combined points in a regular season and playoffs. Only 5 other players have done that since the year 2000. There have been 12 players overall, but only 5 since the year 2000. I didn't want to go back way back in the machine, so I decided just to go back to 2000, okay? Those players are 99 to 2000. Shaq did it. In 05 and 06 season, Kobe did it. In the 13 to 14 season, Kevin Durant did it. In the 18 to 19, the one that surprised me the most here was this one. James Harden did it in 18 and 19. And then in 23-24, Luka did it. So if you combine Shaq, Kobe, Kevin Durant, James Harden, Luka, and SGA, start at number 6 and go to number 1. Rank those players for me. I think this will be an interesting exercise for you. So rank those players for me. I'll give them to you one more time. You got SGA, who just did it, and then you've got Shaq, Kobe, Kevin Durant, James Harden, and Luka.
Yeah. Oh no, this is tough. This is a great question though. This is tough for me because I do view it as 2 different eras, and obviously different.
That's why it's such an intriguing question, right?
Oh yeah,
I want an easy question for you. Come on.
All right, and so here's how I would do it.
Okay.
Oh, this is so tough.
Start at 6 and go to 1.
I'll go Harden at 6.
Okay.
God, that seems disrespectful, but I mean, this is also an incredible list.
It's a heck of a list. You're right.
6.
Okay, so Harden at 6. How about 5?
5, I'd go Doncic.
Ooh, okay. It's a little surprising to me that you've got Doncic at 5, but go ahead, keep going.
I know we still.
By the way, for those of you who are listening to us, we've already got double-digit people on with us live right here on the Sports Truth. You can click on the comments and tell Gabriel how stupid he is. Go. Okay.
Fair enough. 4, I'll go SGA.
Okay.
3, I'll go Shaq.
Okay. So now you got
2,
Kobe and Kevin Durant left.
Yep. KD 2.
Mm-hmm.
And then Mamba, Rip Mamba forever at number 1.
Okay. All right. So you're going to go. Let me see. Let me look over the names. So Harden was 6. Then Doncic was 5. You put Kobe. No, I'm sorry. You put Shaq, SGA, Durant, and then Kobe number 1.
Yeah. It's a hard
Are
list.
You rethinking your list here as you listen to it back?
No, I stand by it.
Okay, just stand by your list. I like it actually. Yeah, there's no real wrong way when you've got 6 guys of that realm, right? That's like trying to put your 4 on Mount Rushmore, right? There's no real bad way to do it. So that's good. Boy, you just wait. I can see Anthony off screen now. Anthony, I know you're listening to us, and I can't wait for this to happen. He's got a really nice New York emblem in the background of what he's doing. And then Gabriel here is our Boston guy. So, man, I can't wait for these gloves to get put on. This is going to be a great show. All right. Game 1 was the Pacers' 5th comeback victory from a deficit of 15 or more points in the playoffs. And that hasn't been done that many times since 1988. So here's the question, Gabriel. As long as the Pacers are down by 15 points or less, will you then continue to watch the NBA game all the way up to the final buzzer?
Yeah, even in game 2, the Thunder, they had around a 20-point lead, but Indiana started to do a semi comeback there late, and I was thinking, oh, no way. So I think I obviously this hasn't borne out yet completely based on the numbers that you said, but I would think that more people who do watch stick around because of what you just said. They've done it. They continued to do it, and if nothing else, it should be an exciting ending. Now, I'll grant you. I'll grant you. A lot of that game 2, for example, wasn't the best because OKC got the big lead and they held on to it. Fine, but
right.
I like your magic number of 15. If it's 15 or less, hey, you don't want to miss another game 1 because that was fun.
Right, you almost got to stick it out, right? I want to go back for just a second to the points, okay? And I want to give you a trivia question that you did not see on your notes, and I want to see if you can get this. You ready?
Yeah.
I know, I love doing this to you. This is fantastic. So here we go. So SGA scored 72 points in games 1 and 2 combined. He broke the record of 71 that was set in 2001 by what NBA superstar? 2001, this NBA superstar scored 71 points in games 1 and 2, and this year SGA scored 72 points, breaking that record.
For NBA finals or playoffs?
Yes, for the NBA playoffs. So it was games 1 and 2 of the NBA. I'm sorry. Hang on. Let me make sure I get this right. So it's games 1 and 2 of the NBA finals. What we've got going on right now. Okay.
Okay, so it had to be. I'm gonna do. So I'm not looking anything up. I'm gonna do this.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
Top of my head. So it has to obviously be a team that participated in the finals. I'm gonna go with Kobe. I think the Lakers were in it that year. Am I completely wrong?
Well, it's not the right team. So you're off by that. Let me give you this. I'll give you 2 letters.
Okay.
AI.
Oh. No way. Oh, who did they play that year though? The Sixers.
I don't know. I'm not that much of a basketball
worries.
aficionado. I'm supposed to put you on the spot, not you putting me on the spot. So let's go this way. So who was the player, sir? Who was the player?
Allen Iverson. Yeah.
Allen Iverson. That's right. He scored 71 in games 1 and 2 of the 2001 playoff. So he scored 71, and SGA broke that record in the first 2 games. He scored 72. Just a little bit of back knowledge for you. I thought that was an interesting statistic.
Yes. No,
this year's NBA Finals will feature an all-time record 24 G League players between the 2 teams, which, again, I thought was kind of interesting. 24 is a lot between the 2 teams. So, A, does this mean that the G League is working?
Oh, can I say I was vindicated? It was the Lakers who won it that year.
Oh,
so
okay.
I wasn't at least completely off base. But
all right,
for sure. For sure. For sure, it's showing that there's a path for players, and that was kind of an area that people wanted to see improvement of under Adam Silver. Is we have all these players, we have the one and dones, but what can they do now afterward? Because everyone recognizes that college is the best way to prepare athletes for the NBA, at least American-based athletes, because there are a lot of European players coming over now who obviously didn't need to go to college. Look at Luka. But what happens afterward? And so they had the overtime elite team. They have the G League team now, and it's not quite. Back in the day, you didn't have, the 10 days. You didn't have the different designations for players, where when players were brought up, they did generally have more of a chance of, okay, you're being brought up. It's because we need you. You're going to get time. And so we don't, a lot of times you'll see players brought up and they'll still, they're kind of there like a just in case. They'll be the 11th, 12th person in the rotation. But what this does speak to is, hey, there's a path and they're working toward it. And I do think it's good. So yeah, that was another really nice find by you, Michael.
So have you ever been or have you ever watched a G League game?
No. I would be open to
it's
it,
working, but you don't like it.
I just haven't. It's honestly never crossed my mind.
Okay. Just an interesting thought, because I figured you would say, yes, it's working. And then I wanted to go, well, is it working for you? Have you actually gone to see a G League game? Because you are a much bigger basketball fan than I am. I just try to do research and find some nuggets and stuff like that. So I thought it was a little interesting there. So that, as you can hear me flipping the pages over and all that kind of stuff, is what we are going to do with our NBA stuff today. We certainly appreciate all of you tuning in so far. Our numbers they continue to climb. We certainly do appreciate that. And we will jump into our MLB 4-pitch talk. We've got Anthony off screen. I can see him now. I am waiting on Cheese. So while we wait on Cheese for a second, let's go ahead and bring our first guest up here onto the stage. He is, let me get to where I can play some music here, because we got to give him some music. All right. So he has one of the largest baseball communities on X. And I'm sure all of them are getting ready to tune into us right now as we bring their guy up onto the stage. And here we go. We're going to bring up Anthony. Anthony, unmute your mic, sir.
What's good, guys?
All right, there he is. There's Anthony. How you doing, bud?
Good, you?
Hey, I'm fantastic. Look at that New York Yankee emblem in the background. Look at that, Gabriel. Look.
Always.
I'm just rubbing it in. Gabriel lives in New York, but he's a Boston Red Sox guy. So, I mean,
that's a weird combination, brother.
That's a weird combination. That is correct. That's, but that's what Gabriel is. He's just a weird combination. So we're good with everything, buddy. All right. As the music kind of plays in the background there, Anthony, I know you're a huge Yankee fan, and you, like I said, you run one of the largest X communities. So tell us, Anthony, how did you become a Yankees fan?
If I'm being honest with you, thanks to my dad watching baseball games together when I was young. He took me to Yankee Stadium when I was 10 years old, and I continued my love for baseball. And as the years gone on, I've turned baseball into like a hobby, and I just love it dearly. Not only Yankees, just talking baseball in general. I love being able to come on the mic or just talk to some friends about, baseball, because it's always changing every single day. That's what's amazing about it.
All right, excellent. So I see Cheese in the background. We'll get him up here as well. We'll have a four-man show for the remainder of what we're going to do here on the Sportz Truth. I'm very excited to bring both of you guys out. What about this X community? Anthony, tell me what it is and how people can join it if they want to. They're watching you and seeing you for the first time.
So it's Baseball Worldwide. I made this community about, say, 3 years ago when X started making communities. And originally I was going to make a Yankee community, but that got taken. And I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's do all baseball. And over time, it managed to just keep on growing. And I didn't think it'd, become very successful. But I love waking up every day and seeing this community filled with posts, whether it's baseball tweets, people sharing their podcasts. It's an awesome place.
One of our viewers chiming in here with us. I don't know if you've ever been on a show like this, Anthony, where we do live, and then we also have the viewers just chime right in there. So you're being asked, what are the 5 worst Brian Cashman free agent signings? You don't have to answer if you don't want to, but you can if you want. Go ahead.
I'm going to think of it because I've been seeing this around on X. Jacoby Ellsbury, that signing where he went from Boston to New York, took the money and fucking ran with it. Horrible.
Right. Okay, so we at least got one, right? That's one of the worst ones. Cheese is telling me he's having some technical difficulties on his end, so we will start everything off here. I got a couple more questions for you, and then we'll be able to go with him. So when you decided to do this baseball community, why you? Why this community? Why'd you choose the X platform? Why didn't you choose something else? Tell me exactly why you decided to do it this way.
I mean, X was, blowing up on popularity and stuff. It was on the rise. Instagram, I don't know. Instagram just didn't feel different. And I feel like you get your news from Twitter, basically.
Okay.
And if you want your stuff to be seen, you can make yourself a platform on Twitter. It's, it's kind of what I did. And I just ran with it.
Gotcha. All right. So without further ado, I see Cheese is with us. Cheese, give me the thumbs up if you can hear me, buddy. All right. He's got us. So we are going to bring him up onto the stage as well. For those of you who have been with us for a while, you have seen Cheese before. He's been on, I believe this will be the 4th time that he has graced us with his presence. And without further ado, we're going to give him some intro music and then bring up our buddy Cheese. And here he is. All right, buddy, how you doing, Cheese?
Oh, how are you guys?
Hey, I'm doing good. Talk a little bit more because your mic is kind of going in and out there. I think you're moving.
Can you hear me?
What's going on? I can hear you now, buddy. Yes.
Okay.
Got you, bud. All right. So you're a Cubs fan and a Braves fan that lives in Texas.
Yes.
Braves, Texas. All right. So how did all of that come out?
I also like the Packers. Don't forget that.
Oh, well, we wouldn't forget that.
Well, when I was a kid, I loved watching baseball, and there were two teams that were always on, and that was the Cubs on WGN and the Braves on TBS. So, the Cubs were always on during the day. They played a lot of day games, so I just watched a lot of baseball as a kid. When people were playing outside, I was inside watching baseball.
Right. Well, I mean, I think that's kind of neat because, the two teams that were always on television were the two teams that you ended up falling in love with, right? So it kind of plays and shows you that if those are the teams that are in your face, right, you're either going to love them or hate them, one of the two, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. All right. And it's also the teams with the most day games, right? So, I mean, did you not have a job back then? You could just watch TV all day long? What was going on with you back then, Cheese?
I was a kid.
Oh, you were a kid. Well, all right, fine.
I
just look at you are right now, this beautiful, stunning man that you are with that nice haircut there started there on the side and everything, and those beautiful little headphones in. So, it's hard for me to picture you as a child.
Child labor laws. I wasn't allowed to work, apparently. This is America. Yeah.
All right, buddy. Sounds good. Hey, so let's jump into our MLB for pitch talk. All right, so we're going to start our four-pitch talk with this. The MLB All-Star Game is July 15th in Atlanta. And today we are picking our outfielders and our DHs. And next week, we're going to do starters and relievers. So let's talk about the All-Star Game for just a second. Give it a nice plug for MLB. The Phase 1, you can vote June 4th through the 26th. And Phase 2 is June 30th through July 2nd. You can actually vote up to 5 times a day. And all the things that are on the ballot when you go to MLB.com are in alphabetical order. Plus, you're allowed to do write-in votes as well. So the MLB is giving us a chance as fans to pick who we want to see in the All-Star Game. And hopefully not only the 4 people on this screen will do that, but also everyone out there who is listening to us right now live on the Sportz Truth will also do the same. So let's go ahead and we'll pause the music in the background and we will get everything going. Gabriel, we haven't heard you for a little bit because we brought on our 2 fantastic guests. So let me start with you. Who are your 3 AL outfielders? Who are your 3 AL outfielders?
All right. We'll try to start on a positive note here with our guests. We'll throw in Aaron Judge here. All rise. But then we have to balance out the force with Willie Abreu, and we'll finish out the roundup with Riley Green.
All right. So you've got Abreu, Judge, and Green. Those are your 3 outfielders from the American League that you're going to choose. Ricky, thank you. Yes. It's a little stunning that somebody actually knows. I try to keep this stuff kind of secret. But yes, he is correct. Today is my birthday, and I wanted to make sure that I still come to you guys with our podcast every week. So I appreciate it. Thank you very much. What we got here? What else did you say? Oh, okay. I appreciate that. He's reposting the stream for us. Thank you very much. I'll check on stream numbers here in just a minute. Anthony, you'll unmute your mic there. We'll go to you next, sir. Click it one more time, bud. There we go. So tell me, sir, what are your AL outfielders for this year's All-Star Game?
So I got Judge. Judge. What he's doing is ridiculous. I'm going to go Stephen Kwan as my second outfielder. He's a pesky hitter, great contact bat. He's done a lot of things for the Guardians over the years, especially this year. And then what Gabriel said too, Riley Green. he's improved ever since he got into the big leagues, and I believe this will be his first All-Star nod. He'll get it.
All right, sounds good. So you guys have two of the same guys, right? You got Riley Green, Aaron Judge. Your different, I know Gabriel's was Abreu, and what was your different outfielder that you had up there for us, Anthony?
I had Stephen Kwan.
Stephen Kwan. All right, Stephen Kwan. Excellent choices. Boy, I wish I was 36 years young. Yeah, that sounds good, buddy. That doesn't get you any brownie points, though. You're still going to have to wait to come on the show for a little bit. All right, just suck it up, get you nowhere, sir. All right. Cheese, I'm going to go over here to you. I know you're kind of known as a football guy, obviously, with your site, Football with Cheese, but you're going to prove to us today how much you know about baseball. Tell us who your three American League outfielders are right now, sir.
Well, I have Aaron Judge. So yeah,
imagine that.
That's shocking.
I know.
Imagine that. But actually, I have one different than both of them. I have Riley Green, obviously, but I have Tyler Soderstrom with the Athletics as my third.
I have to say, I'm going to have one different from the three of you, which is kind of interesting as we get around to these. I really thought about Tyler Soderstrom, and he'll come up later when I ask one of the other questions that we'll have a follow-up on here in just a few moments. So I, as the rest of you, have Aaron Judge. I, as Anthony, had Stephen Kwan, but I'm going to pull another guy up here that I really like, and I want to see him make, I believe this will be his first All-Star game. I needed to look it up, but I didn't. I was running a little late on time here. I'm going to go with the Detroit Tiger guy, and I'm going to give you his numbers. 274 batting average, 13 home runs, 27 RBIs, and an 808 on-base percentage, just to give it comparison. Kwan's got a 306 batting average, 5 home runs, 22 RBIs, and a 780 OPS. And Aaron Judge, the other guy I picked, is just kind of unworldly. Even though I don't like your Yankees, Anthony, I have to give your guy props, man. He's killing it this year, so he does deserve an All-Star nod. But my guy from Detroit, Kerry Carpenter, I would really like to go in and get there from the Detroit Tigers this year. So we looked at AL outfielders. Let's look at National League outfielders. Let's go in reverse order. So we'll go Cheese and then Anthony and then Gabriel here. We'll give the two guests their flowers here on this one. So National League outfielders. And let me go to the right spot and click that so we can go to our NL outfielders. Cheese, tell me your three National League outfielders.
So the first one's pretty obvious. I'm assuming everyone has him, but Pete Crow Armstrong has been incredible. Absolute breakout star, MVP candidate. He's one of the most fun players to watch. The guy is excited about a single. He's incredible. Where am I? Okay. Corbin Carroll, I have his two from the Diamondbacks. He's having a really good year. I think he's up to 19 home runs. And then I have James Wood from the Nationals as my third. Really good young player, outstanding player.
You know, I thought you were going to get all three of the ones that I have. You already took two of mine, but we'll find out if anyone else does the third one. So, Anthony, let's go to you. Your three National League outfielders, sir.
So I got PCA.
Okay.
Like she said, amazing season. I got Corbin Carroll. Even though the Diamondbacks are struggling, he's putting up excellent numbers. And then my third outfielder, I would say James Wood, but I think they're going to give the nod to Tatis. Yes, you could pick Soto. Yes, you could pick Acuna. But let's be real, Soto hasn't put up the best numbers. Acuna just came back from injury, so I'm going to give the nod to Fernando.
All right, so you're going to have Corbin Carroll, Pete Crow Armstrong, and then Fernando Tatis Jr.
Yes,
all right. So that is an interesting list as well. Gabriel, do you have anyone else than our two guests, Cheese and Anthony, have put up on the board right now?
I do.
All right, let's hear it.
We have the Pete Armstrong Crow. That's consensus All-American pick. If this were football,
and I have Pete Crow Armstrong as well. So it's a 4-for-4 deal.
Indeed. We have Corbin Carroll, and this wasn't an homage to your birthday, but happy birthday nonetheless.
All
But
right.
then let's go with O'Neal Cruz. You know, Pittsburgh's more than a team whose pitcher is dating Olivia Dunn. Let's give Pittsburgh a little more love than that.
I can't say anything about Olivia Dunn because my wife might be watching this, so I'm just going to leave that alone. All right. So anyway, all right. So we all it's good. We all have Corbin Carroll. We all have Pete Crow Armstrong, but then we all differ on our third guy. So, Cheese, who was your third guy that you differed with? You had Armstrong, Carroll, and who else?
James Wood, Nationals.
James Wood.
He's one of the best prospects in baseball last year. The dude is just an absolute stud. He's putting up great numbers, and yeah, I think he's going to be a 10, 12-time All-Star.
Okay. And then, Anthony, you also had Carroll and Armstrong, but you selected Fernando Tatis Jr. as your third guy, correct?
Yes, I did.
All right, excellent. And then, of course, Gabriel, our co-host here of the Sportz Truth, you selected a third guy, and who is your odd man out, kind of?
O'Neal Cruz.
O'Neal Cruz from the Pittsburgh Pirates, right? All right, hang on, I got to get to some of these. Man, I would love to say him, but buddy, I just don't think that's going to happen. Now, he also says he's given us his three: PCA, Friedel from the Cincinnati Reds, and Kyle Tucker from the Chicago Cubs. We will talk Chicago Cubs here in just a few moments. But I've got a different guy. Let me give you his numbers first. I like teasing this stuff, right? So 256 average, 10 home runs. So just in comparison, 256, Carroll is at 258, Pete Crow Armstrong is at 273. So my third guy has 10 home runs. Carroll has 19 home runs. Pete Crow Armstrong, 17 home runs. My third guy has 36 RBIs. Corbin Carroll has 41. Pete Crow Armstrong, 55. I'm thinking about maybe not saying this pick after I go through all these numbers. And my guy here has an OPS of 715 when Carroll has 908 and Pete Crow Armstrong has 856. I'm going to stick with him. I still think he's deserving, and I think he's going to be the only person selected from the Milwaukee Brewers. That was also one of the reasons why I picked him, Jackson Churio, I believe. So I wanted to throw that name out there as well. Okay, so I'll stop. Now here's Ricky beating this TJ Friedel drum over here. 294, 6 home runs, 9 stolen bases, and 811 OPS as a leadoff hitter. I'm not saying those aren't great numbers, Ricky, but I don't know if they're all-star numbers, or I don't know if he is popular enough to get enough votes. I think that's what's going to be more than anything. Is he Fernando Tatis popular? Is he Corbin Carroll popular? Is he popular enough to get all of those votes? Because you don't see him on anything that MLB is advertising right at the moment. So I'm not saying that you don't have a case. I just don't think he's going to make it onto here. You know what? I'll start off this time. So you've got your AL, your AL, hang on, DH. There we go. I couldn't think of the right letters there. So my AL DH is going to make one of our guests, actually not guests, our co-host, very happy. And I'm sure he's going to pick the same person. I'm going to pick Rafael Devers. So let's go with the co-host here for a moment over to Gabriel. Gabriel, do you have Devers or do you have someone else, sir?
Oh, no, fantastic pick. Nailed it once again, Mike.
Nailed it.
I'll say if I didn't have to pick Rafael Devers, I'd go with Trevor Larnach.
Okay, which is not a bad pick either. Anthony, let's go with you. Tell me who your AL. Oh shoot, I should have switched that. I did all this work ahead of time to get all of this stuff up here, and then I don't even put it up on the screen. All right, so who was your AL DH?
It's got to be Rafael Devers. He got off to that horrific start to start the year, but over the last couple months, that man turned around his whole damn season. And then had that whole drama thing with the third base. Oh, I'm not going to play there. But he's backed it up, and, he's going to make another All-Star appearance. He kills the Yankees, man.
Right, I was going to say, and that's coming from the Yankees fans. So again, kind of like I was saying earlier with Judge, you don't have to like the team in order to respect the job that a player does on a team that you don't like. So that's 100%. Cheese, did you agree with the other three? Are you taking Rafael Devers too, or did you pick someone different, sir?
I did not pick anyone different. No, he did not. He really didn't want to play first base, did he?
No.
He did not want to. No, Rafael Devers. That's who I had. Absolutely.
Yeah, and then, myself and Gabriel had several discussions, especially since Gabriel is the Boston Red Sox guy, who, by the way, lives in New York. And we had this discussion. Is he? Don't shake your head. Are you telling me it's not true, Gabriel? Or do you not live in New York?
No, it's definitely true.
Oh, okay. All right, then stop shaking your head like it's not true. Don't make me come to New York.
Why would you go to New York?
Well, only to see Gabriel and then turn right back around and leave. So,
Okay.
Actually, you know what? I wouldn't mind going to Yankee Stadium, but it would be on Gabriel's dime or maybe Anthony's dime, depending on who wants to pay for the better tickets. So, but Devers is 281 batting average, 14 home runs, 57 RBIs, and a 926 OPS. So Devers has had a really good year. This one should probably be a unanimous choice as well. I can't stand this guy either, but I've got to give him his props because he's got a 291 batting average, 23 home runs, 39 RBIs, which are actually a little bit low if you compare the RBIs to some other people. Gabriel's laughing because he knows he's heard me talk about this for weeks and weeks now. I can't stand this guy. And a 1.015 OPS. So even I had to go with Shohei Ohtani. Cheese will go with you. It looks like Anthony might be having a little bit of difficulty with headphones or something like that. So we'll leave him until the last. So Cheese, where did you pick, sir?
Shohei Ohtani, obviously. How can you not pick him? But I'll say this. A close second or second by himself is Seiya Suzuki is having a really good year for the Cubs. Mm-hmm. So he would be second. But, yeah, you have to go Ohtani as the starter for DH.
Okay. So Ohtani, Gabriel, you're smiling really big up there. This is where I get the nickname for you at, the baby face up there. You're just showing it off right now. Talk to me. Did you pick Shohei or somebody else, buddy?
Isn't it nice that we're all in agreement of how great Shohei Ohtani is? But I will say my second.
Not what we're doing right now. All right.
My second would be Kyle Schwarber.
Really?
Did you go with Kyle Schwarber? Really?
No. I'm saying if I had to pick someone else, I'd go Kyle Schwarber.
Oh, okay. Someone else. Okay.
Okay. All right. I got you. I mean, I don't like Shohei, and I was even like, what? Huh?
No.
So, Yelich has been a first-time DH, but Ohtani is, yeah. Okay. I would agree with that comment, Ricky. That's good. Everybody who's out there with us, there's a whole lot more people listening to us live right now on X and on YouTube and on everybody's streams that we got going on right at the moment. You can comment with us. Just simply click the comment button, and as long as you talk about what we're talking about, then we'll put you up on the screen. Anthony, who did you choose for the National League DH, sir?
Of course I chose Ohtani. I hate to say it, but, he's just amazing, so I had to fucking pick him.
All right. Well, I keep listening to you a little bit, and I usually can imitate a lot of people, but that accent's got me stumped. I don't think I can do that one.
Sorry,
so I'll just let you do your own accent, all right? Okay, so Anthony, you're going to be on next week with us as well when we do starting pitchers and relievers. So I'm going to let you kind of get caught up, buddy. I put that on the notes there for you to choose everybody else so that you can get caught up with the rest of us. We'll have Cheese and Gabriel just kind of hang out for a second while we do this. Who'd you pick as catcher for NL and AL? Your catcher for both leagues, sir.
Let's see. Who did I pick? I mean, Kyle Raleigh for Kyle Raleigh.
Okay. So Kyle Raleigh from the Seattle Mariners for the American League. Who'd you pick as your National League?
I got Will Smith from the Dodgers.
Okay. Let's shift over to first base. Tell me who's your American League first baseman.
Let's see. I got Goldschmidt. He's in a little tailspin right now, but I think overall he's been the best first baseman in the American League right now.
Okay. All right. It's probably no coincidence that he has those pinstripes on, but that's fine. Let's go with National League first baseman.
It's a toss-up, but I'm gonna go Freddie Freeman. He's looked great. You could also say Pete Alonso. He's having another good season, but I'm gonna go Freddie Freeman.
All right. So let's move all around the diamond a little bit further, and let's go to second base. Tell me who you got AL second base, Anthony.
I got Altuve, and then in the NL I got Donovan.
I don't know about these picks. You did the same thing that my co-host did last week. That I wanted to just come through the channel or the stream out here. Jose Altuve is not even really a second baseman anymore, you guys. I mean, he's mostly a left fielder, and I hate to tell you, but his defense sucks at both spots.
He's still the little midget that can hit the ball out of the ballpark, you know?
Okay, so he's got, I don't have the stats pulled up right at the moment, but I know he's only got single-digit home runs. So anyway, that's fine. You know, you're allowed to have your opinion, sir, and you're allowed to.
9 home runs.
He's got 9. Yeah, see, single digits.
You put a Yankee.
All right, so give me shortstop, Anthony. Who you got for shortstop, buddy?
So we're gonna go Bobby Witt. Yes, you can go Jacob Wilson, who's batting like 370 right now, but I'm gonna go Bobby Witt.
Ellie De La Cruz doesn't fit in this equation anywhere at shortstop?
I got Lindor.
You got Lindor. All right. Wow, the rival New York team. Interesting. All right, one more spot for you. Let's go third base, and then we'll go back to the questions that we're going to do today. So who you got at third base in the AL, Anthony?
So this guy is the most slept on person in baseball, J-Ram from the Guardians.
I agree. He's doing a heck of a job, and he doesn't get the recognition that he should get. So I would agree with you there. Tell me who you got National League at third base.
I got Manny Machado at third base.
Gosh, you and Gabriel over here picking your same people that I can't stand.
Greg
I'm just not a big Manny Machado guy. So yeah, I won't get on my bandwagon for a second week in a row. I'll just say he's not my guy. I don't particularly care for him. So we'll just kind of leave it at that, right? So let's pull everybody back up here a little bit bigger. And Cheese, since you're the second guest today, I'll start with you on this particular question. We do a DH spot, and we've talked about some of the other guys, and we've disagreed on a few guys, right? Whether it be Tyler Soderstrom, whether it be Ellie De La Cruz, whether it be some other of the infielders. Josh Wilson didn't get a spot on a lot of people's ballots. He did on mine, and he did on Anthony's. But should baseball include a utility spot on their all-star balloting?
Well, I have a follow-up question. Does utility spot mean someone who's a utility player?
Yes.
Okay, so they're not an actual starter.
Well, but I mean, that's, that, and you're 100% right. That's where the kind of the fault lies with it, right? But it's not necessarily that it's a fault with them. There's other players, there's other infielders that I would like to have and make sure they are at least on the all-star team. And that would be a way for me to at least get them there. They might not start, but that would at least, give me a way to get one more infielder into that mix for the all-star game.
So if it's a Ben Zobrist situation, then yes, someone who can play 5, 6, 7 positions throughout the season, yeah. So he might not have one position.
Okay.
But someone that's just a part-time player, I don't think so.
All right. And you know what? That's not a bad scenario there. It's not that he's not a, I don't know, like a Kiki Hernandez type guy. He only plays every so often, like three days a week. The utility guy has to be a guy who can play multiple positions. And I wouldn't mind having that be the caveat with it, as to play multiple positions. I like that take, Cheese. I really do. Gabriel, what about you? Does there need to be a utility person on these ballots?
I think so, with that caveat that you and Cheese just discussed. Only because, certain players can kind of separate themselves at the one position, and it does close the door then for people who are having an otherwise great year. Just they aren't beholden to only playing third base. They're kind of going with the anti-Rafael Devers approach, and we don't want to penalize that.
Yes. Okay. I like that. Anthony, I'm going to come down to you here, sir. What do you think about having a utility spot on the all-star ballot?
It's interesting. Would I go with it? I don't think so. But I think all utility players should deserve recognition because let's be real, it's hard to play almost every single position in baseball. Like she said, Ben Zobrist, that man played everywhere and he played it on a high level. You know, do I think it should be in the All-Star game? No, but I think if you're a utility guy, like, you know, I give you your props, you know.
But it's got to be hard playing all those. I mean, how many gloves you got to take to a game with you every day, right? I mean, you know, it's, I don't know. I think there's a talent there that we don't necessarily respect. And you kind of alluded to it, Anthony, but I would like to, me personally, you know, and since I'm the guy that writes all these questions, I threw it on there because I personally would like to see there be a utility player on the All-Star team. We're going to move to the 2025 playoff chances. I sent you guys this. I tagged everybody in it. Hopefully you got it. And we can look here for just a second. I'll run down these numbers very quickly. When we start with the highest percentage and we'll go down to the lowest percentage. So number 1 is the Dodgers at 98, 2 is the Yankees at 97, 3 is Detroit 96, 4 the Mets at 94, 5 the Cubs at 87. And then without giving you the rankings, I'll go down through and give you percentages here. Philadelphia at 77, Houston at 76, San Francisco 61, Minnesota's next at 60, Seattle is next at 56, then 52 is San Diego, 51 Toronto. We get down to the 40s with Tampa Bay at 46, St. Louis at 43, Cleveland at an even 40, Kansas City is at 35%, Milwaukee is 29, Atlanta 26, Arizona 25, Boston 19, Texas 18, Cincinnati, and when we get down to single digits now, Cincinnati is at 7, Baltimore is at 3, the Los Angeles Angels are at 2, 1% covers 3 teams, Washington, the Athletics, and Pittsburgh, and 0% also covers 3 teams. I'm sorry if you're in any of these teams' markets, but you've got Miami, the Chicago White Sox, and the Colorado Rockies. So that's got a quick rundown of all of those percentages. Anthony, I'm going to actually start with you on this. I'm going to ask you to give me a team that on that list is ranked too high. Give me a team on that list that's ranked too high, and you're allowed to say the Yankees, sir.
Let's see. I got to go with a little stumped. I think.
Do you want me to come back to you? You want to look at the list for a minute?
I'd probably go with Seattle. I think Seattle. I think Houston's going to run away with the division. And Seattle got off to that hot start, and they've faded ever since.
All right, so you're saying Seattle, and they are at 56%. All right, so Seattle is Anthony's team that is too high. Let's stick with the guest right at the moment. We'll go to Gabriel next, but we'll do Cheese first. Cheese, give me a team that's on that list that you think has too high of a percentage at the current time.
Atlanta Braves. They're not making the playoffs. They're terrible.
That really hurts you too, didn't it?
You know, here's the thing about the Braves. They actually lead the league in defensive runs saved. Their defense has been terrific this year, but they don't hit in the clutch. Their bullpen is a disaster. They have some pitchers hurt. They're just not doing all the little things. And Brian Snitker, the manager, it seems to me he just needs to retire. It's not working out. He makes a lot of bad decisions. So the Braves are 9 games under 500. You're not in it until you get to 500. I just don't see them getting to 500 this year. So they should be at 3% probably.
Whew. Boy, we got some rough takes there by Cheese on a team that, by the way, he says he roots for, just so everybody knows, right? So he wants the manager fired. He doesn't think they're going to get to 500, and he's picking them right the moment, even though they are currently on this board, at least, at 26% chance of making the playoffs. Cheese says there is no way they're making the playoffs. So, all right, buddy. I'm sure we'll chop that up and send it out to all your Braves fans. All right. Gabriel will do that for us on a short or something like that. So, Gabriel, let's go back to you, buddy. Give me a team on this list that the percentage that they have been given is too high.
Where were the Nationals at again?
The Nationals were at 1%. So I guess you can say they're too high and need to be at 0.
Yeah, that might be too high still. No. Okay, I thought it's hard to think of a team that's too high. I do like the Braves. The Braves shout there. Were the Angels, were they also pretty low?
Yes, the LA Angels were at 2%.
That might still be too high though.
Okay. You're just trying to top cheese here and get all these crazy takes. I see what you're doing right now. I see
He's not wrong. He's not wrong.
Yeah, well, all right, man. So we're never going to get any listeners from any of those markets ever again. I appreciate it, gentlemen. All right. So not that we had any of them in the first place, but, maybe not. The team that I am actually going to put up there as being too high, I believe Anthony mentioned them as he thought they may have been too low, and we might get a voice from him in a minute. 61% was the number given to the San Francisco Giants. I like their team, but man, they're in a really tough division with the Padres and the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks, even though the Diamondbacks have kind of fallen off here in the last week to 2 weeks and are just marred with injuries right at the moment. I still think that even if the Diamondbacks fall out, the Giants are the third best team in that division, and I'm not sure if they deserve 61%. So, Gabriel, I'm going to start back with you, and then we're just going to do the opposite here. So we asked a team that was ranked too high. So now we're going to give you a chance to tell us that your Boston Red Sox are ranked too low. Sir, go ahead.
Yeah, let me do this for a moment. Listen, there's been a lot that has gone wrong this season. And there's a lot that will probably continue to go wrong. We just find ways to lose games, and it's almost admirable at this point. That being said, not all hope is lost. We're still in a great position to make the wild card. But for right now, let's just get to 500. That's very much a doable goal. I think we can do it. Let's just reel off a couple more wins. The Red Sox making the postseason wouldn't shock anyone, right? No one's going to be, oh my goodness, they don't belong. It's can you just stop being a knucklehead? Granted, might be asking way too much at this point. I fully recognize that, but even if they don't make it, I'm having fun watching this Red Sox team. Even if my hat gets thrown against the wall, even if my computer gets smashed. This is still a more fun team to watch compared to some of the more recent years.
All right. So I will give you a prediction on your Boston Red Sox right now that you can chop up whenever you're ready. The Boston Red Sox are going to fall into this cheese category. I think we're going to call it a cheese category for the rest of the season just because he's been on here and he's given us some great things here. They will not reach 500, and they will sell off all of their players by the trade deadline. So,
Devers
there you go.
Gone.
Eat that.
Devers is gone.
No, Devers isn't going anywhere. Nobody wants that contract. But just so you know, too, Anthony, we're going to go to you here in just a second so you can be looking at that list, buddy. But by the way, just so you know, the Boston Red Sox lead all of baseball in errors, and Rafael Devers isn't even playing in the field. Just so you know. Okay, so Anthony, let's go down to you, buddy. So you gave us one earlier that you thought was, let's see here, too high. Now let's find a team on that list that you think their percentage is too low. Go ahead, Anthony.
Let's see. Where were the Cardinals ranked?
So the Cardinals were ranked, let's see, St. Louis.
43%.
Yes, thank you, Chiefs. 43%. Yes.
I think the Cardinals have a shot. No one didn't think that this team would have a shot. They thought they were going to rebuild. Goldschmidt walked. They traded some players away. They're trying to get younger. But this team has fought and clawed, and they're only a game and a half out of the last wild card. Okay. And first-year manager, he's done an excellent job with this staff, and I think the Cardinals could somehow if they can make the right moves at the deadline, acquire a few pieces if they want to go for it, I think they could squeak into a wild card.
Okay. All right. So the St. Louis Cardinals is who Anthony is picking. That is too low. And as Cheese pointed out, because he was able to read the thing faster than I am, 43% is currently where the Cardinals rank. Now, this list that we've got was provided for us by Codify. That's at Codify Baseball on X. If you don't follow them, I would tell you too, they've got a bunch of statistics like this they pump out every single day. If you're a stat person, then go ahead and follow Codify. That is at Codify Baseball. And they got these particular statistics from Fangraphs. Let's go to Cheese. Cheese, give me the team that you think on that list is too low.
So there are people going to think that I'm a Cincinnati sports fan, I guess. I'm not, but the Cincinnati Reds are 35-33.
Mm-hmm.
They have won five straight.
Mm-hmm.
They've won 5 straight. They're 5th in the National League in run differential. They're plus 41. What are they, 7%? That's crazy. They should be at least 25, 30%. That's way too low. So I'm just looking at this here, and they have a better run differential than the Philadelphia Phillies by, if I could do math, 25 runs. So I think Cincinnati Reds should be at least like 25 or 30%.
Okay. And, you're stealing my thunder here, so we're going to be able to cut this segment off a little bit and save ourselves some time because that was my pick, too. And as you can see, I've got Mr. Red Legs behind me. I've got a bunch of, you can't really tell what teams these are on the shelf back here, but got a lot of red stuff. I'm a big Reds guy because that's where I was raised, right outside of Cincinnati. Now I live in Arizona, so I'm also a really big Diamondbacks fan. You just can't see all that stuff over there. But I tell you what, I'm with you. 7% for a team that's 2 games above 500, and all those other statistics that I was going to give that you just gave really well, Cheese. I appreciate that. That's crazy. So we are in agreement on that. Let's do using these percentages. If I gave each of you $100, and I said, put this $100 on one team. Anthony, we'll go you last. Gabriel, you'll go first. Cheese, you'll be second. So Gabriel, Cheese, and Anthony, look at that list for me, okay? If I give you $100 and I say, turn this into a winner, which team are you going to lay $100 on? Gabriel, go ahead, bud.
Yeah, so I the way I'm approaching this now is I don't want to pick a team that's too high up there because I want value back. I want a little bang for my buck.
Mm-hmm.
I think I could go with the Phillies, a team that I think is probably going to make it, and while also getting that value that I spoke of. So that's probably the direction I would get, unless I were to, of course, go with and stick with the Boston Red Sox. Just wait for Bregman to get back. We'll be fine, boys. We'll be fine.
All right. So Philadelphia was the number 16, by the way. They were at 77%. And that's where Gabriel wants to put his money at. So, all right, the 6th ranked Phil. Yeah, are you staring at the list now, going, "Wow, is this one of those moments where you shouldn't have picked Gentry with number 2? Is that what this is?"
Oh no, I stand by that as well.
Oh, okay, all right, I'm fine. You can be wrong on both shows. That's fine, sir. Anyway, Cheese, let's go with you, buddy. If I gave you $100 and I said put it on a team, and you want to be able to turn that $100 into more than $100, which team would you pick on that list, sir?
Can I short sell the Braves?
Sure, go ahead.
Can I? No, probably maybe Minnesota Twins. Maybe I'd put $100 on them because I think they'll be a wild card team. So I think, what are they, 50 some percent?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Even though they lost Pablo Lopez, I still think they have a good team. So I'll say 60% Minnesota.
Yeah. Okay. And, I would tend to agree with you, but the problem is they're in a division with a lot of mediocre type teams. So one of those mediocre teams is probably going to win, which, Kansas City, Cleveland, or Minnesota. So, all right, well, you're going to choose Minnesota out of that group. That's fine. Anthony, we're going to go to you last here. Again, if I gave you $100 and I said, hey, I want you to turn this $100 into more money, now that you've switched rooms and everything else, buddy, where would you put your $100, sir?
I'm staying in the AL Central. I'm going to go with the Tigers. They got a great pitching staff, and their lineup is good.
Okay. You know what?
Bet, bet 100, win 105, or win $5 probably.
Right, you'll win $5, but you're gonna win some kind of money, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Brady here has given us. Gabe has anti-Canadian tendencies. All right. Well, some of these, I just love some of our people here. They're great. They're with us all the time. The Red Sox mentioned over the Blue Jays. He must be a Blue Jays guy. So here we go. The Blue Jays again. Wow. He's just calling out everybody. Says they'll annihilate the Yankees when it matters too. And let's get to one more comment that we've got here before we move on to our other part. Baseball with cheese. Who would have guessed? I like that. That's good. So yeah, he can be multi-talented. He can know more things about more than just football, right? And we were just doing some of those kinds of things. We are going to do with football. We're going to do the over/unders here once we get to our NFL segment. There are several teams that have 8.5 wins as far as total wins in the 2025/26 season. We'll go over all of those teams and we'll pick the overs and unders. Should be an interesting topic of conversation. Anthony, I want to go with you here because we're going to talk about the Yankees and the Cubs. We're going to talk about the Yankees first, and then we're going to switch over to the Cubs. All right. So Anthony, I've got a question just for you, and then Cheese later on in the show, I'll have a question just for you, just to kind of to focus on our guests here. But first of all, Anthony, where can they get you on your Twitter account, buddy?
At the Jock 26. I'll gladly follow you guys back. If you want to join Baseball Worldwide too, that'd be nice. And if you're looking just to talk baseball, hit me up.
All right, sounds good. So at the Jock 25, right?
26.
26. Sorry, I was one off. I apologize for that. So at the Jock 26. Would you agree with this statement? The Yankees are popular because they're hated.
I don't think they're hated anymore. I think, a bunch of fans laugh at the Yankees now, Times have changed. The Yankees haven't won since 2009, and they choke in the playoffs every single season, Times have changed.
Excellent. Okay. That was not the answer that I was expecting, but okay, that's fine. I'm not saying that you're wrong. I just think that they are the Dodgers of the AL still, where they just throw out money and buy all the players and then they still don't win. I guess at least the Dodgers are winning. So I don't know. That's kind of what where the hatred thing comes. Look at Gabriel up there, the Red Sox guy. That's the biggest smile I've seen you have all show, buddy. Cheese is like, hey, let me talk for a second. All right, we'll give you the floor, buddy. Go ahead.
I'll just say this: they could have matched Mets for Juan Soto. I think is a really smart decision not to. So the Yankees, I think, dodged a bullet there.
I agree with you.
So that's kind of where you guys are all going, especially Anthony saying, okay, well, times are changing. They're not necessarily throwing money out at everybody. They're being a little more picky as to who they throw money out to then. Okay. All right. Not a problem. I like that. So let's talk about Jazz Chisholm Jr. for a moment. He was quoted last Friday as saying, I play at 70%, whether it's offense or defense. And then we'll talk about an X post that he put up here in a moment. But let's take this question first. Gabriel, I'm going to start with you because we talked to both our guests here for a moment. So do you understand his 70% comment, and do you agree with it? A two-part question for each of you. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's kind of like, and I forget who it was, but he was a cowboy, or it's like you don't go hard on every play, and the play in question was, of course, the last play of the game in a one score matchup. It's like, yeah, of course, that's the play that you take off, of course. I think that's what he's saying, right? Like you want to save a little bit for the later months, for the playoff push, and then ultimately for the postseason. And I don't mind it to an extent, pacing yourself. I will just say though, 70% still seems low to me, and in terms of on a single play, I would still think, because of how baseball is as a sport, that you would just still give 100% on each play. So that I don't love it either way. And for sure, even if you do say, well, he's right to an extent, I would definitely disagree with the 70% number. That's just way too low for me.
Okay. Cheese, I'll go with you, and then Anthony, I'll have you do it third here. So, Cheese, what do you think? The question is a two-parter, and it's, do you understand the 70% comment, and do you agree with it?
I guess I understand it. You can't go 100% for 162 games. You just can't. Okay. Your body's going to wear down. I don't like it. He shouldn't have said it. And he's hitting 214. So you might want to bump it up to 85%,
right?
Because he's not having the best year. So, yeah.
All right, Anthony. So he is your player on your team. That's Chaz Chisholm Jr. And he was quoted as saying, I play at 70%, whether it's offensively or defensively. Now, to give this a little more context before we talk to the Yankees guy, right? Chaz Chisholm has always been one of those guys who has just been pretty much all out. He is 100% all the time. His motor is running all the time. He does things. He says things. He likes that spotlight. He likes that limelight. And I think he's starting to realize that maybe I should back off a little bit. But I'll still ask you the same question. Do you understand the 70% comment, and do you agree with it, Anthony?
A little bit. I know he said something about, I'll play every position, which I appreciate that, but it goes back to the playoffs where he was talking shit about during the Royals series. And it's like, dude, just play the game. You're getting paid millions of dollars to play, be grateful, go 100%, I don't see Aaron Judge saying, oh, I'm not going to go 100%. You see, he goes 100% every time and stuff. And it's like, just stay off of Twitter. You got a season to focus on, just stop the crap.
Okay. And that's coming from a Yankees fan. So, I understand what he's saying about the 70%. I kind of like Gabriel wouldn't have said 70, and she's kind of alluded to it. Maybe we go 85, right? I think 85 is a little bit of a better number to say because I get it. She's made this point as well. You can't, especially in football, right, Cheese? You cannot go 100% every single play. That's why there are a rotation of offensive linemen, and that's why there's a rotation of defensive linemen. That's very plausible, and I completely understand it. So I'm going to kind of ask it in this way. We'll do a follow-up question to it and say, I'll start with Anthony, then I'll go to Cheese, and then we'll go to Gabriel for this one. Do you think it's 70% for 10 years and 100% for 5 or 6? And what about the injury factor? So if you say, hey, I'm going to go 100%, is that going to cut your career down? And what about the injury factor if you say I'm always going to go 100%? Go ahead, Anthony.
I mean, you can go 100% and find ways to take care of your body between off days, between games and stuff. Like you should be giving 100% effort every time you step out on that field. You're getting paid millions of dollars. If I was in their shoes, I'd give everything I got each and every day. I'm playing in front of fans that paid money to come see my team, see me, like it's important,
Right. So Cheese, I'll switch everything over to you. We all know what the fans want. The fans will say, hey, give me 100% every single play because that's what you're getting paid millions of dollars for. But I think maybe the GMs and some of the front office people will be like, hey, why don't you back it down a little bit and not give us 100% every time? Because if you do, there's probably going to be some injuries involved there. So give me your take on the injuries and maybe not playing 100% 100% of the time.
Yeah. Especially young players just coming up that love the game, they're going to give 100%. If you watch Pete Crow Armstrong, I'm going to talk about him a lot every time you invite me on. Okay. He goes 100% on the field. When he's at bat, on the bases, he goes 100% all the time. But there's a reason they take out veteran players when you're way up or way down. They take you out because you need rest. You cannot – let's put it this way. Some players play every inning of every game. Cal Ripken did it for years, but nowadays that's not ideal. You could wear down. So it's not good to 100% all the time. So young players, yes. Veterans, not ideal.
All right, so I'm gonna talk to you about your Pete Crow Armstrong guy here for a second. I live here in Arizona. I see the Arizona Fall League all the time. He was in the Arizona Fall League, I believe, 2 years in a row, and was not impressive. Everybody kept saying, "Oh, he's the next guy," but he looks like Jordan Lawler right now for the Arizona Diamondbacks. If you guys know who that is, or you can Google him later. He's supposed to be the next guy, right? And I just don't see it. And I have to say, I was looking at Pete Crow Armstrong the same way until this season. All of a sudden, he's put everything together. I'm not going to shout like maybe he's doing something that he's not supposed to be doing, but all of a sudden, everything just came together, and you very rarely see that in a player. So he's either really special and he figured it all out, or there's something amiss somewhere, and we're going to find that out before too long too. So I'll just kind of leave it at that. Gabriel, what about you? Talk to me about 70% versus 100%, and what about the injury factor there?
Yeah, it also will have to do with the position. Right, I don't want my pitchers going 100% in terms of exclusively sticking to 100-mile-an-hour plus fastballs. Right, that would technically be going 100%, but we all recognize how silly that would be. So you can play though at 100% in terms of giving an all-out effort, making winning plays. So if you say you're not going to give 70%, does that mean you won't do a 5-yard jog to catch a fly ball in center field? Does that mean you're just going to let the ball go past you if you're in infield? Like, what does that mean exactly?
Mm-hmm.
So for sure, you can still make winning plays. And in that sense, always give 100%. Where you can have a little reserve. So is that extra little bit of effort that you then see in terms of maybe a diving catch, or in terms of, an infielder stopping a ball from going into the outfield, something like that, or stealing bases. Stealing bases would be another good area where it's like, okay, I'm giving 100%, but I'm not going to do this. I'm going to save this for later on to help preserve my body. Something like that I'd be okay with. But to just come out and say, yeah, I'm giving 70%, that I hate that. I hate that out of athletes. Like LeBron James, he'll say this, I'm waiting to activate playoff mode. It's just not a good mindset to be in.
Right. Shouldn't you always be in playoff mode, right? Why do you have to activate it at certain times, right?
It's like nitrous.
I agree. But I also understand like I said, I understand where he's saying, and I bet that he has been told from his front office, and I bet there's been several players told from the front office, okay, you don't always have to go full speed every out of every inning of every game, right? And I'm sure, like what Cheese brought up too, if the Cubs are up by 6 and there's a bloop hit in the center field, and Pete Crow Armstrong decides, I'm going to dive after this thing, people everywhere that wear C's on their chest and have the little pinstripes and the Cub bear hat and everything are going to be like, no, the whole time he's diving. It's going to look like slow motion for him as he's diving, right? And he's going to be told, hey, we'll leave you in the game, but if you ever dive like that again, you're not going to play for a week, right? So, there's some temperance and stuff there that needs to be done as well. Here's the second part to the Chaz Chisholm Jr. thing that I want to get into for a question as well. So he posted on his X account, which Anthony says he needs to stay off Twitter, but he posted on his X account on Sunday after Red Sox pitcher Hunter Dobbins, not that I'm trying to start a war here between the Yankee and the Red Sox guy, Hunter Dobbins made a comment, something to the effect of, if the Yankees were the last team on earth and they offered me a contract, I'd retire. So it got everybody going, and Chaz Chisholm Jr. popped off on his X account and said that there needs to be more trash talking in baseball. So I love how I decided to phrase this question. Gabriel, I'll start with you. Anthony, I'd love to hear your comments right after the Red Sox guy, and then Cheese will go to you third here, buddy. And that's this. Should there be more WWE in MLB? Go ahead,
so you can have the trash talk, but the key part of trash talk is either winning the game or doing something incredible to then kind of back up that trash talk. If not, it falls short and becomes silly and does become more like a production. We don't need more productions. We need players making plays, and if they want to supplement it with trash talk, I'm all for it. But make sure that the first thing stays first, and I'll let my friend Anthony kind of speak onto how the trash talk kind of unfolded for his team.
Well, before we get to Anthony, I want to ask you this: there aren't like the biggest rivalry in baseball for a long time has supposedly been Red Sox Yankees. I don't really know that's a rivalry right now. And if we had more trash talk in the sport, wouldn't it be more of a rivalry? And we need more of these rivalries, right? We need to pull the younger crowd in, don't we? You're a younger guy. You can tell us, don't you? Isn't that kind of what pulls you in?
I mean, listen, I'm okay with trash talk, and it's fun, but the baseball is what needs to be good. The reason it's not a rivalry is because the Red Sox have been pretty awful. And even in this year, listen, I'm having fun watching the Red Sox play because it's like, okay, we're competitive, and then we'll find a way to drop it at the end. But but I'm having fun. It's like, okay, I kind of see what we're building toward. In terms of, so now if Rafael Devers starts going off against the Yankees and talking trash, that doesn't do anything for me. Like we're still below 500. So for it to be a true rivalry, the Red Sox need to get their act together, just like we did in this past series against the Yankees.
All right, so Anthony, I'm going to go down to you here for a second. There's a couple things going on here that we're kind of focused on for a second. The first one is, do we need to do more WWE in MLB, and would that make it more rivalry based so that we could get more fans into the game?
I'm all for trash talk. You just got to be able to back it up. Like last season, we had Dodgers and Padres. Now that's a good rival that's been brewing over the last couple of years. They fucking hate each other, and I love seeing that. We had Braves and Phillies a couple of years ago where Arcia was chirping back and forth. I like that, like what Gabe said. Yankees and Red Sox, their rivalry, it just hasn't been the same. The Red Sox haven't had good seasons. The Yankees, up and down. Like, it just hasn't been the same for years.
Okay, and I appreciate you reposting the stream. That's why I wanted to give you credit, throw it up there on our screen as well. Cheese, before I talk about this, and I'm going to have a little bit of a take on this real fast, what do you think about the rivalries in baseball and the trash talk that may or may not come because of it?
I'm not a huge fan of trash talk in baseball. Rivalries can change every year. They can happen when two teams are really good. Like the Yankees, Red Sox, one of the reasons it was so amazing was they were two of the top 5 teams for a long stretch. So they were both so good. And I remember when I was a kid, they switched divisions. Like the Braves and Mets were not in the same division. And all of a sudden they were, and they both were really good late 90s. And all of a sudden they hate each other. Chipper Jones even named his son Shea after Shea Stadium because he had so much success there. That created a huge rivalry, Mets-Braves, that didn't exist before that. So rivalries, as long as two teams are really good for a number of years, a rivalry will just happen if they're in the same division.
Okay. I kind of agree with everything that you guys are saying, but this is where I have my qualms with what's going on in baseball right now. I don't like it when an opposing team gets a hit and they go down to first base and the first baseman like taps him on the butt like, "Hey buddy, how you doing?" And it's like, no, not during the game. This is supposed to be a rivalry between two teams, and you guys are supposed to be at each other's throats, right? When they slide into second base and they pop up and they're like, "Oh man, I'm sorry. Did I accidentally, touch your ankle with my cleat? Oh, I'm so sorry." And it's like, no, you don't jump up and tell somebody you're sorry. You're like, you know what? Get off the bag, punk, and I won't hit you with my cleat anymore. That's the kind of stuff that I want to see. I don't like all of this. We're all friends, and we all go hang out with each other after the game and everything else. And even if you do that, you don't need to be doing it during the game. We are supposed to be two. You don't have to hate each other, but you're supposed to be two teams that are against each other, and both of you are supposed to be trying to win. When it gives me the impression that you don't really care who wins. You know, it's like, okay, buddy, well, you know, I hope you win today, or maybe we'll win tomorrow, or what. No, you're supposed to be fighting tooth and nail to win that game. And I think sometimes that doesn't happen. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to bring that up today as far as that part goes. So there's a couple of comments that I won't put up here on the board because of some of the language that people are using. I'm not going to do that. So let me see about this one. I'll put this one up here on the board. It's you know, and for those of you who don't like me doing that, it's my show. You can screw off whenever you want. So, and it's being a top team, but they also need a bit of personal taste of hatred. Yeah, I get that. 100% right, JC. I will agree with that every single time. And Queens and Phils are near each other. Yes, most of us know geography. So, okay, very good. All right, let's take that back off, put that back up there. Now we're going to go from Yankees to Cubs, right? So I gave the Yankee guy a little bit of his flowers, Anthony, when we were talking about the Yankees. I want to do the same thing to Cheese when he's talking about one of his two teams, which is the Chicago Cubs. So I'm going to set it up this way, and then I'll ask a question of you, sir. So in my opinion, and this is my opinion, right? So the Cubs have been kind of a strange yet successful team. You know, I've got another show that I do here on our YouTube channel that's called Thinking Outside the Batter's Box. They're basically little 5-minute pieces. And I gave your Cubs some flowers in one of those because they've been doing really well, right? And I have to, you know, I'm a baseball guy too, not just a Reds guy, not just a Diamondbacks guy. I love baseball as a whole. So let me give you a few Cubs statistics, and then I want to shoot you over a question because I know you want to talk about a certain game. So let's do that here in just a second. So the Cubs are second in batting average. They're second in runs, but they're 17th in batting average against them. So second in batting average, 17th and against them. They're second in runs, but they're also 17th in home runs allowed. They're 10th in ERA, 13 in WHIP. And I wanted to bring this stat out because we talked about it earlier. You were talking about day games, and we were giving you a hard time about it. But this year, the Cubs are 17 and 12 in those day games. So if you can win the day games, why not continue to play the day games, right? So, Cheese, here's what I want to do with you. I want you to tell me in one sentence, what are the Cubs?
The Cubs are a very good scoring team that doesn't miss enough bats.
I like that. All right. They're a very good scoring team, and you're 100% right. Obviously, those statistics I just shelled out there prove that. But you're right. They don't miss enough bats. They don't strike out enough people. So talk about the game the other night between themselves and the Washington Nationals that they actually won. Go ahead, sir.
Oh, they won. I think it was 7-1. They beat the Nationals 7-1, and their pitchers, the combined pitchers, I think it was 4 or 5 of them, recorded 1 strikeout the whole game. The Nationals, who are a young team who do strike out, I watched the entire game. The 1 strikeout was looking. The Cubs do not miss enough bats. And right now, they remind me of a team that can win 100 games and one and done in the playoffs, because you're going to get the best teams in the playoffs. You're going to get the best lineups. They don't, with Justin Steele out for the year, they don't have a number 1 type starter that can just take over a game and dominate the postseason. And their bullpen, the back end of the bullpen, I'm looking at Brad Keller. This is who they're using. Chris Flexen, Drew Pomerantz. That's who they're using in the bullpen, and they're doing really well, by the way, because Tommy Hodevoy is a great pitching coach. But they're getting outs through weak contact. They're not missing enough bats. In the postseason, you have to miss bats. So the Cubs have to make some moves for some pitching that gets more strikeouts, because when they get in the postseason, they just, to me, they don't seem like a team that's going to make that long playoff run. You have to win multiple series now. This is not 4 teams make the playoffs anymore.
Right. Okay. So I'm going to do kind of some yes or no type questions. We're at almost an hour and a half into this, and we try to make sure that we don't go too much over 2 hours, at least most of the time. So we've got a whole other segment to do here in a moment. So we'll do kind of some yes or no, and I'll phrase them a little different than what they might be on you guys' notes, just so we can do yes or no type answers to these questions. Gabriel, I'll start with you. Anthony, I'll go. You know what? I'm going to do all three questions to Gabe and Anthony, and then because it's the Cubs section and Cheese is the Cubs guy, I'll save you to the end, and I'll ask you the questions. That way, if you want to elaborate a little bit more, you can, Cheese. All right. So Gabriel, will the Cubs win the National League Central? Yes or no?
Yes.
All right. Anthony, let me ask you the same question. Will the Cubs win the National League Central? Yes, no?
Been trying to pick them the last 2 years. This year, it's going to happen. They will win the NL Central.
All right. I like it. Gabriel, I'm going to go back to you for a moment. Cheese mentioned this a second ago, so I'm just going to ask you guys, will they be all in the trade deadline? Gabriel, yes or no? Will they be all in?
No.
No, he doesn't. You don't think they'll be all in? Okay. Anthony, what about you, buddy? All in for the Cubs at the trade deadline?
Yeah, I mean, Kyle Tucker's on this 1-year deal. They're going to go for it.
All right. So last question for the two of you. Then I'm going to pose all these questions to Cheese as we end this segment and we end our MLB 4-pitch talk, and then we'll jump to NFL 4-down territory. All right. So here it is. Gentlemen, I'll start with Gabe. Will the Cubs win a playoff series? Yes or no, Gabe?
Yes.
Yes. All right. Anthony, will the Cubs win a playoff series?
If they match up against Philadelphia, no. Anybody else? Yes. You know what? Yes. Give them a serious win.
All right. All right. So, Cheese, now I'm going to come back to you guys. If the two of you want to take a break a minute, get a little bit to drink, mute your mics, whatever you want to do. Cheese and I will be here for a couple minutes. So, will the Cubs win the Central, Cheese?
Yes.
And yes or no, and then give me a little bit of reason why you think they will.
Yeah, they will. They have the best roster. They're going to score runs. Their bullpen is overachieving. Like I said, Tommy Hodevoy is such a great pitching coach, and he's getting the most out of them. So they're going to win the Central probably comfortably. I don't think they'll run away with it. You know, the Cardinals, Brewers, and Reds are all above 500, but they're the best team in the division, and they're going to keep scoring runs. This is a lineup that can hit home runs. They hit for average. They hit with men in scoring position. So they're going to score enough runs to win the division.
Okay. So just the same question that I asked the other two gentlemen, I'll ask you in the succession right now, which is, will they be all in at the trade deadline?
Yes, and here's why. Their farm system has basically their top players in their farm system, their top 100 guys, their top 5 or 6 prospects are, for the most part, blocked by other players. Owen Casey, outfielder, Kevin Alcantara, another outfielder, James Triantos, Jefferson Rojas, both infielders. There's no spots for them. And they're all, except for Rojas, they're all in AA or AAA.
Yes.
So they have pieces they can move. And Jed Hoyer, the GM, has come out and said, we're going to trade for bullpen. We're going to trade for starters. And it's hard to guess who they go after. I don't think they have enough in the front system to go after like a number 1 stud, but maybe a number 2 starter type. But they got to go for it. I mean, they're maybe 1 stud starter or maybe a closer away from being right up there with as good as anyone, but they've got to get a leading reliever and they've got to get a frontline starter. So why not trade Owen Casey, Kevin Alcantara, James Triantos? Why not trade them when they're blocked anyway?
All right. I'm with you. I think they do need to get both of those things. You're right, a frontline starter and a reliever. And I will also agree with JC here, because if they don't, there is so much competition in that National League. I don't think they can win with what they have currently, but I think they're really close and they need to go out and get a few people. So I do too. I think they're going to be all in that trade deadline. So then, it comes down to this, buddy, for your Cubs, will they win a playoff series?
Well, as you know, in baseball, anyone could win any series. But that team right now reminds me of a team that will go one and done. So we got to see what moves they make. But right now, if this is the team that's in the playoffs and, yeah, they face a team like Philadelphia, like the Dodgers, like the Mets. They probably would be one and done with this current roster, in my opinion.
All right. So I will say, and so will the music, we'll say, let's go. And we're going to get into 4-down territory now, gentlemen. We're going to talk about teams that we'll mention. Those teams will be the Bengals, the Packers. We will talk about the Broncos here in a moment. We're going to do 8 different teams when we talk about our overs and unders. And then we're going to end the segment speaking about such people as RG3, Brian Clark, and of course that crazy guy that maybe he's married, maybe he's not married, maybe he's been, who knows about this guy? And his name's Aaron Rodgers. So we'll get all of that here in just a moment. We need to talk about this first. Something that happens today, and I would love to get Cheese's opinion on it. We'll kind of second and we'll come right into it. So the Broncos made a signing today. If no one has seen it, I saw it earlier today. They signed a running back today. They gave J.K. Dobbins, ex-Ohio State running back, a 1-year, $5.25 million contract. Please, do you like this contract at $5.25 million for 1 year for the Broncos? Go ahead, Chiefs. Do you like this contract?
I'm sorry, the music, I couldn't hear you.
Oh, I apologize.
Sorry.
See, I thought I had that stuff down, and nope, all you could hear was music. And all right, well, I apologize for that, and I apologize to our fans for that. Like I said, I thought I had that music down, but I guess I didn't. So, J.K. Dobbins to the Broncos, 1 year, $5.25 million is what he got signed to today. Do you like that deal? Oh, hang on, I got to give us the. I don't know if you guys can hear that part of it or not. I gave you the little ding, ding, ding in the background. We're up to 50 people with us live right here on the Sportz Truth. So we have to give our people a shout out. Thank you guys very much for doing that with us. $5.25 million, J.K. Dobbins to the Denver Broncos. Do you like it?
Yeah, why not? Gives them a veteran in the room. They already have Audric Estime from last year's draft, R.J. Harvey from this year's draft. So 2 young guys. Now you got a veteran in the room. They're really deep now at running back. And the Broncos, they could be pretty good this year. If Bo Nix doesn't, have a CJ Stroud kind of, sophomore slump, their roster's looking pretty good. So, yeah, I like the move. Bring a veteran in.
All right. So I like that. I like it as well. We'll talk a little bit more about that here in just a moment. I'm clicking buttons over here, and I'm getting confused as to what I'm doing. The old man can't do 2 things at once. So my wife was right. So let me get up here to some of these comments. We got a few more. There we go. JK, low risk, high reward. And let's see what the other NFL here is. NFL over NHL in the summer. Yeah, okay. If you don't have to tune in if you don't like it, sir. So anyway, we'll get that there, and then we'll put it over here.
Does hockey still exist?
It says that we are a minor league baseball, major league baseball, college football, NFL. Doesn't say a word about hockey. I'm sure you can go to other places where it does say hockey.
Like Europe.
Yeah, like that. So anyway, let's jump into our football conversation here. We'll start off a little putrid, a little smaller, and we'll ask this. We'll go Gabriel, Anthony, and Cheese. That'll be the order that the gentlemen get this question. The Bengals released linebacker Jermaine Pratt, and the Packers have released cornerback Jair Alexander. Which player will help their new team more? Gabriel, which player will help their new team more, Pratt or Alexander?
I have to imagine that'll be Jair Alexander. You'll hear me say this a lot probably in this segment if he stays healthy. But for me, he's still someone who just makes plays on the defensive end. So I give me that. Not that Pratt doesn't, but you know what I mean. Jair Alexander, he's just someone who creates turnovers, can get the ball back to your offense, and so for me, it's depending on what happens there, it's something where it's like, okay, we know what we can get with Jair Alexander, and we know the risks involved of acquiring a player with that talent. but the upside's pretty good.
Okay. All right. So that's Gabriel's take. Anthony, let me give you a chance to give us yours. Which one's going to help their team more, Pratt or Alexander?
I'm going to go Alexander. I believe he will sign with a team that's going to be in the playoff hunt, and I believe he supplies a nice veteran presence. He'll be good for the locker room. He'll help out the young guys, and I think he'll make a big impact for wherever he goes.
All right, Cheese. I'm gonna change what I'm gonna do here because if you look at your notes, the 2 red questions are gonna be just for you. All right, so I'm gonna ask the 2 green questions for these gentlemen. If you look at the notes, and then I'm gonna ask you kind of all 4. All right. So Gabriel, I'm gonna come back to you and say which of those 2 players, Pratt or Alexander, will receive more money with their team this season, not overall. Who will receive more money this year?
If I had to guess, I'd probably say Pratt. Sorry, Jair. We have a little bit of a, not the best of history, but I'm rooting for you, bud.
Okay. Anthony, what about you, buddy? Which one do you think is going to make the most money this season, Pratt or Alexander?
I'm going to go Alexander.
All right. Appreciate that. So, Cheese, here we go. I'm going to do 4 questions in a row, kind of a little bit of a rapid fire thing, but we'll get through this question because we got to get to our overs and unders and everything else to conclude this segment here and wrap us up within about 15 minutes. So let's see if we can do it. So which player will help their new team more, Sir, Pratt or Alexander?
I'm going to say Pratt, just because Alexander is hurt all the time. So you can't help your team if you're hurt. And the biggest issue, well, I think it's your next question. Never mind. Go ahead.
Okay, that's fine. So which player is going to receive more money this season? Go ahead.
Jair Alexander will get more money, though, because he has proven in the past he can be a shutdown corner. So someone will give him more money than Pratt. And off-ball linebackers, just the position's just not getting paid like other positions.
All right. So in your opinion, since you're the Packers guy and Alexander was a Packer who released them 2 days ago, what was the biggest reason for their release of Jair Alexander? Now, before you answer, I want to make sure we plug you here real quick, buddy. Tell them where they can go to get your stuff. And you've got a really good breakdown of this whole Jair Alexander thing. So you're going to give us the one that's the biggest reason, but you give a lot more reasons on your breakdown. Where can they get that at, sir?
Yeah, follow me on YouTube at Football with Cheese. You can see on the screen. Cheese is spelled Cheez. And I'm on X at Football Cheese, basically without the with. So you can follow me there as well.
All right. So at Football Cheese on Twitter, and then Football with Cheese is the YouTube channel handle, correct?
Correct.
All right, buddy. So what was the biggest reason for the release of Alexander?
He just does not stay healthy enough. When he plays well. But Brian Gutekunst, the GM, was asked this question. He was asked, I have it here, why didn't the Packers take a gamble on Jair Alexander staying healthy and keep him? And this is what he said. Obviously, we've done that the past few years, and it hasn't really worked out for us. He's missed playoff games. And I think what really made a lot of fans and maybe people in the Packers front office upset was he would be questionable in so many games and would not play. Questionable is 50-50. And he just seemed to, every time he was questionable, he was inactive. So he just wasn't healthy enough. So it was just time to move on. And they tried to trade him and they couldn't. So it was time.
Okay, understood. So I got a 2-part question for you here as we kind of wrap up the whole Jermaine Pratt and Alexander's being released by their 2 teams, the Bengals and the Packers. Do you consider cornerback a premium position is the first part of the question. And second, how do other NFL teams view cornerbacks? Do they consider them a premium position? Go ahead, sir.
I think it is still. I'm higher on cornerbacks than most. It depends on the game. If you play a heavy zone scheme, then you're not going to value it as much. If you want to play a lot of press man, then you're going to value it more. So it really depends on the team. But if you have a shutdown corner, if you have a Patrick Surtain, if you have a Darrelle Revis, wow, that can really help your defense so much. So I'm higher on cornerbacks than most.
Okay. We are now going to do our betting segment, which is going to be 4 MGM Sportsbook. Now, MGM's not paying this, nothing like that, so I don't want to do a bias on them. But I did want to do this. We're doing several teams every week, so I wanted to keep going back to the same Sportsbook and looking at that every single week. So today, we're going to continue that look at the 32 teams, and we're going to do the over-under on total team wins in the 2025-2026 season. The following 7 teams that we're going to look at have been granted 8.5 wins. Gabriel, tell me, I'm going to try to do this in the background while we do this, but don't let me do it loud enough where you can't hear anything, all right?
I think you'll be fine.
Picks here, everything good?
I think it'll be fine.
Okay, sounds great. So let's do our first team. We're going to do these in almost alphabetical order. I've got one that we got to put at the end so that we can segue into the next part of our discussion. But let's go for everything that we do. Anthony, I'll take you, and then Cheese, and then Gabriel. All right. So Anthony, Cheese, Gabriel will be how we do all 7 of these teams. So Anthony, let's look at you first. The Arizona Cardinals. Would you go over or under 8.5 wins?
Under.
Under 8.5 wins for the Arizona Cardinals. Cheese, 8.5 over under Arizona Cardinals.
I go over 9.5. They're a 10-11 win team, in my opinion.
Oh, all right. Interesting. Gabriel, how about yourself, buddy? The Arizona Cardinals, 8.5.
Anthony was correct. Under.
All right. So we got that going on. Okay.
Oh, that's lovely.
That's lovely, right?
Arizona Cardinals, I'm telling you, they're going to be really good. The defense is improved. The offense is already good. They're going to be really good this year.
Yeah, I mean, they went all defense in the draft. So I know you break down a lot of what they're doing, and I know you've already done that breakdown. So if people want to get more information, again, on the Arizona Cardinals or pretty much any of the other 32 teams, go over to the YouTube channel Football with Cheese, and you can certainly get that breakdown. We talked about MLB on our last segment, and for those of you who want to get more information on MLB, you can certainly go over to Anthony's spot. He is at Jock26, and then if so doing, you can join his huge, like over 11,000 people that are currently in his X community. You can get a lot of information from both Anthony and that community. So please go ahead and do both of those things. Go check out Football with Cheese and go over to shoot, now I lost it. What about it's at something Jock25, right, Anthony?
26. Come on, man.
6. Get that like 3 times already. I'm a terrible host, I guess. It's fine.
Nah, you're good, homie.
All right, gentlemen. Let's go to our next team. And again, it'll be Anthony, Gabriel, and Cheese. All right. So, Anthony, we're going to look at the Chicago Bears. What do you think about them? 8.5. Over? Under?
I'm going to go under.
All right. Under for the Chicago Bears, says Anthony. Gabriel, how about you? Over, under, 8.5. Chicago Bears.
I'm going over.
Ooh, over 8.5. Interesting, gentlemen. Cheese, see what you got, buddy.
Ooh, this is a tough one. This is a tough one. I'm going to go under just because 10 of their games are against the division or the AFC North. They have a real tough schedule, so I'm going to say they win 8 games.
All right. I'm going to turn that music down just a little bit more in the background. I don't want it drowning any of our people. All right, so we have now done the Arizona Cardinals. We have done the Chicago Bears. Up next, the Dolphins of Miami. Anthony, 8.5. Over or under, buddy?
I'm going to go over.
Okay, over for the Miami Dolphins at 8.5, says Anthony. I'll get to some of these comments in a second. I see you guys out there. I'm clicking all over the place here, so that's why I'm not giving my views. I'm trying to keep up with everybody else going on here. So, Gabriel, the Miami Dolphins have been given 8.5 by MGM Sportsbook. What do you say? Over? Under?
If it was even lower, I'd still go under.
Wow, so you don't have much faith in the Dolphins at all. Neither does a couple of our people sitting out here. So he's Dolphins under as well. Cheese is over here. I can't wait to get this reaction. And then we go one step further and say, I don't trust the team. Well, you don't really have to trust them, I guess. So anyway, what we got?
Yes.
Oh, one more. Okay, well, I get it. There are some health concerns there. So, Cheese, are you going over or under Miami Dolphins at 8.5?
Dolphins had one of the worst off seasons to me in the NFL, and Jalen Ramsey moving on. They're going to be under. They're going to be a bad team, in my opinion.
All right. Now we got
I agree with Gabriel. Finally,
I won't give away who that is. I know who it is, but they're getting all fancy with the little dolphin things and everything else out there. Look at this. I may have to hire a couple of these people to start doing stuff for me on this show. But I don't know. I don't think I deleted one of your. I just didn't show it because, again, if you'd listen, I said there's a few of the comments that I'm not putting up there because of the words that some of you guys are using. Again, it's my show. I can decide when to click on yes and when to click on show and when to click on no. So that's why. All right. So I've put pretty much everything up here though, and I'm not trying to be biased on it. Even if I don't agree with it, I'll still put it up here. I have no problem with that whatsoever. Just don't use a bunch of foul language and stuff because it won't get put up here. All right, gentlemen. We have already done the. Let me go back to my notes. Arizona Cardinals. We've done the Chicago Bears. We've done the Miami Dolphins. Let's do another one in the same division with the Chicago Bears. And let's do the Minnesota Vikings. Anthony, 8.5. Minnesota Vikings, over or under for the 2025-2026 NFL season?
I'm going under, man. I got to go under.
All right, under for the Minnesota Vikings, okay? Gabriel, how about you? Over, under, 8.5, Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah, look at their quarterback. Definitely under.
That's what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. I would have to agree with the two of you as far as the quarterback goes. I don't like what they did there, but hey, we got another one. He wants to go over. So we've got 2 unders. We got 1 over from our fan base out there, which we certainly appreciate. And then we're going to go with Cheese. Cheese? Minnesota Vikings.
Definitely over. They won 14 games last year. They have a good roster. And I believe in J.J. McCarthy. I was really high on him coming in the draft. I think they're a 10-11 win team easy. Sam Darnold was terrible at the end of the year. Yeah, Minnesota over, definitely.
Okay, Minnesota over. All right. Hang on, let's see. Maybe so. Well, we're just doing 8.5. So we don't care about their fans. We're just doing 8.5. We're looking at gambling odds, right? All right. So we have done all of those teams. We've got 3 more left. One of them is the New England Patriots. 8.5 for the 2025-2026 season. Anthony, we'll start with you, and then we'll get to Babyface here in a moment, just making all kinds of crazy faces. So we'll get to him. Now he's putting his head down. He's ashamed of his team, the New England Patriots. Anthony, what do you think, buddy? Over or under? New England Patriots, 8.5.
I hate to say it. I'm gonna go under. There will be 7 or 8 wins. That's what they're getting. Big improvement, though. Go under.
Okay. So big improvement, but still under. All right. Gabriel, this should be interesting. And if you tell me over, you better have a really good reason to go over.
Oh, because we're winning the Super Bowl, Michael. That's why. No, I mean
Super Bowl.
I mean that's steep. 8.5. Vrabel's the guy. Drake May's the guy. I like how Anthony phrased it though. I just think 8.5 is too rich, so I would go under.
All right, so under, and now we go to Cheese. Cheese, are you going to stay with them and consistently say under as well for the New England Patriots at 8.5 wins?
Yeah, I'm going to go under. They have one of the most improved rosters in the NFL, but even if they double their wins, that's only 8. So I think they're a year away from being a playoff contender, so I'll go under.
Okay. All right. So these comments are coming in fast and furious. I certainly appreciate you guys being on with us and putting all these comments. We got a whole bunch of people with us. We are approaching 100 people live right here on the Sportz Truth. I certainly appreciate everyone who is with us tonight and who is putting these comments up with us. We appreciate your participation in our show. So let's hide that one. Still got one more before we move on to the next to the last team that we're going to be doing, which is the Seattle Seahawks. They also have 8.5 according to MGM Sportsbook. And Anthony, again, we'll start with you. 8.5 Seattle Seahawks. Would you take the over or the under?
I'm going to go over.
All right, over 8.5 for the Seattle Seahawks. Gabriel, over, under.
Sam Darnold, this isn't Minnesota anymore. The under.
All right. So is it because of Sam Darnold that you're going to take the under?
I don't like the team as a whole, and Sam Darnold doesn't have the same supporting cast
That he did in Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, understood. Cheese, talk to me here, buddy. We are looking at the Seattle Seahawks in the same division as the Arizona Cardinals we talked about earlier. You went over on the Arizona Cardinals. What are you going to do with the Seattle Seahawks in the same division?
A little surprised it's only 8.5 because they did win 10 games last year. I can't believe I'm agreeing with Gabriel again, but they also traded DK Metcalf, and their offensive line still isn't good. And Darnold struggles when he has a lot of pressure. So I'm going to go under. I think they're probably the worst team in the division, in my opinion, because the Rams and Cardinals are very good. So I'm going to go under.
All right, and we've got one more team left. We're going to use this as our segue to everything else we're going to do here on the Sports Truth. And our numbers keep climbing, so we're just going to keep talking. And here we go. Let's do the Pittsburgh Steelers. 8.5. Over or under? Anthony, we'll start with you.
Over. Tomlin, who doesn't have losing seasons. They'll be 9-8 or 10-7.
All right, so Gabriel, I'm going to go with you. You're going to see me clicking on a lot of these where these things are just flying in here. So we're going to try to get to all of them. And I may have missed a couple of comments along the way. I apologize. I'm trying my best here, gentlemen. You guys are throwing them up here fast and furious. So Gabriel, we'll go with you. Talk to me about. Man, you guys are coming in so fast. I can't keep up with them. So Gabriel, talk to me about the Pittsburgh Steelers. 8.5 wins, over or under, sir?
I don't know, Michael. This is exactly where this number should be. If I had to pick, which I guess we have to because we're on the show. If I had to pick, I'd go over. But if you also gave me a bet saying, will the Steelers get 8 or 9 wins, meaning that's your bet, 8 or 9 wins only, I would 1,000% pick that.
All right, so this one will, you know what, I'm going to wait for that one for a second. We got so much going on here. Cheese, I'm going to go to you. We are going to go with this juggernaut that has been for years, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Anthony mentioned it earlier. Man, Tomlin just doesn't do losing seasons, but is he going to get 8.5 wins or is it going to be lower?
Oh, it's going to be over for sure. I think 9 is the minimum. I could see them going 9-8, but I could see them going 11-6. Yeah, I got them over. They have a good roster.
Okay. I'm going to take just a couple seconds, and I've got to catch up on all these comments here, so they might go a little quick. I'll try to give everybody enough time to read everything. Once again, thank you guys. You guys are really putting up these comments, and you guys are really, really being part of the show, which we certainly appreciate. We've had more comments up here today than we've had for quite a while. So let's see. I saved this one for the end because this one's going to help us segue into our next part of everything else that we are going on. So for the rest of the show, we're going to focus on these things: ESPN, politics, Ryan Clark, RG3, and the guy that's mentioned in this tweet, or this comment for us, Aaron Rodgers. So, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. All right. For this segment, I want to go, Cheese, I want to give you the first. Anthony will go second, and Gabe, you'll go third for the rest of the show. All right, we'll do that L shape there for the rest of the show. Gabe, Anthony, and Gabriel. So, Cheese, I'm sorry, I said, yeah, Cheese, Anthony, Gabriel. All right, I'm doing too many things at once here. I need a production assistant or something. This is hurting me right at the moment. I'm getting old too. It's my birthday and everything else, man. I've been celebrating way too hard. All right. So when we focus on ESPN, politics, Ryan Clark, RG3, and of course Aaron Rodgers, here we go with these questions to end everything out. Cheese, I'll start with you. I know the answer to this question from you because this is where I got this question from. And again, I'm going to plug everything for everybody as we go along here. Football with Cheese, the YouTube channel. Please go over and check it out. He's got tons of stuff up there right at the moment on all of these subjects. That's why we asked Cheese to come on the show today. Do you believe ESPN has gone woke? And does it affect you watching the channel?
It's been woke for years now, probably a decade. And yeah, I don't watch any of their shows. I watch sporting events. That's all. It's owned by Disney. Let's be honest. Disney, it's not ESPN, it's Disney that's running this. So they have gone woke, and some of their shows are just unwatchable because they have an agenda. And I want to know about sports. I don't want to know about social issues. I want to know about sports. So their shows are unwatchable.
Okay. So same question, Anthony. Do you believe ESPN has gone woke, and does it affect you watching the shows?
I don't watch ESPN anymore. It's not the same. I actually watched a video today on their downfall and stuff. They haven't been the same for quite a while. They refuse to talk about certain sports, especially MLB. They refuse not to fucking talk about it. If I gotta look up sports, I will go on Twitter or I will go in whatever sports app. I don't need ESPN. They suck.
All right. So everybody's bashing Cheese here for a moment, but Anthony might be more on this bandwagon than Cheese is. So go up to you, buddy. I'll ask you the same thing. I want to tell you that I agree with both Anthony and Cheese. I am really close to boycotting ESPN altogether. One of the best announcements that happened this year was when ESPN said, hey, we're not doing baseball anymore. And I was like, good. I love baseball. And I don't like you. So I don't want you doing baseball anymore. But Gabriel, I'm going to give you your time here. The question's still the same. Do you believe ESPN has gone woke, and does it affect how you watch them?
I wouldn't say gone woke. I mean, it's Connecticut, it's New England, so that's going to be a more liberal area anyway compared to a lot of the rest of the country. And then a lot of their hosts are very much out front in terms of being they say that they're conservative in terms of their political leanings. So to me, that has very little to do with why ESPN is terrible. Their sports shows are just objectively awful. They have the same talking points every time. They talk about the same things. There's no creativity, originality, and it's agenda driven in terms of we know who they're going to talk about and what they're going to talk about and which teams they're going to talk about. Doesn't matter how they're doing. It doesn't matter who's actually doing well. It doesn't. There's not too much homework in terms of, oh wow, this player's actually doing really well, even though they're not on the big team. So that to me, that has more to do with why people just aren't tuning into ESPN anymore, unless it's a game that they want to watch.
All right. So again, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to start down with Cheese. We're going to go to Anthony. We're going to go to Gabriel. And here's question number 2 on these same subjects here. RG3 and Ryan Clark were commenting about the WNBA, which again, in one of your posts that you have on your channel, Football with Cheese, that's crazy for 2 football guys to be talking about the WNBA anyway. I won't be as cruel as what you were in your post there. We'll just say it's a little crazy for them to be doing that. So RG3 and Ryan Clark are both black males, either have been married or were married previously to white women. Does that bother you that you've got different races mixing, and here they are putting up their opinions on a platform like that when I don't want to say they're not staying within their same race, but are you that traditional guy who you want to see the whites with whites and blacks with blacks and Mexicans with Mexicans and all those kinds of things, buddy?
No, I don't care. But Ryan Clark apparently thinks that RG3 can't comment about a possible race rivalry in WNBA because RG3 is married to a white woman. So it turns out Ryan Clark has a daughter with a white woman. So he's a total hypocrite. That's the whole point of that. I don't have a problem with any of that. But Ryan Clark seems to. and seems to be able to tell people what they can comment about based on race. I don't want anything based on race. When I watch sports, I don't want to think about any social issues. I just want to enjoy sports. And Ryan Clark won't allow that. He makes everything about race, and it just frustrates me. And that's why I made the video.
Okay. So Anthony, what about you? Do you want race and sports separate, or are you okay if they overlap?
I want them separate. I want to talk sports. I don't want to get into politics. I want to talk about race. Like us guys, we love sports. You know, we come, we talk sports, we watch sports. We don't need that other bullshit. And plus, it's hard to like not see it. You know, you open up Twitter, you see some bullshit. You know, keep it out.
Okay, so you're saying no, and you know I will agree with you. I don't like it all mixed up together. But obviously we have gone into a subject matter here where people have got their own opinions, and by golly, you're allowed to have your own opinion. We certainly will go with that. Gabriel, I'm going to ask you the same kind of question here. Ryan Clark and RG3, you know, they both have children. RG3 is married to a white woman right now, and Ryan Clark has a daughter that is half black, half white. Does that bother you when you look at analysts or anything like that on your sports, or do you just not care? All you want them to do is talk about sports.
Yeah, it was a weird way for Ryan Clark to approach RG3 there. If you disagree with someone, then disagree with them on their sports take for whatever their sports take was, you know? Putting in all this extra stuff that's not, you know, that's not related to the actual topic at hand, it's not needed. And it definitely turns people off, and it really does do the opposite effect of what Ryan Clark is probably trying to have anyway, because now we're talking about this instead of whatever his actual point was. So it's just odd, and it really not needed, I don't think.
All right, so Cheese, I'm going to go back down to you, and we're going to look at different theories that we can look at, right? So I want to ask which one that you kind of go to. We're gonna go through this question a little quick, and we're gonna get to our other 2 or 3 questions that we have left as we kind of wrap everything up here on the Sports Truth. You can get us at the 643 and Out Pod on X, and then you can also get us over on YouTube at the same handle at the 643 and Out Pod. So which one do you subscribe to, Cheese? Just give me one or the other, all right? Keep race out of my sports, or I think including race adds to my sports.
Keep it out.
Okay.
We watch sports. Yeah, we watch sports to get away from anything in our lives. Like, it's an escape in a way. Like, we use it for entertainment. We love sports, so we don't want any other issues. We just keep it out.
Okay. That's fine. Anthony, I'm going to go to you. So I'm going to give you the question so that you can look at both sides. So it's keep race out of my sports, or I think including race adds to the sports that I watch.
I'm keeping it out of the sports.
Okay. You're also going to be with the keeping it out of my sports. All right. You know, again, we'll throw these comments up here. I certainly will. You all are, each and every one of you are allowed to your opinion. We like touching on these subjects like that will get people talking, and you guys are certainly talking, so we appreciate it. And as long as you don't get personal or anything like that, we'll keep them going. Gabriel, here's the question for you that I've posed to both the other gentlemen already. Keep race out of my sports, or I think including race adds to my sports.
You can talk about race, but it can't be personal. It has to be from a place of being genuine. What Ryan Clark was completely disingenuous. They were having a conversation about Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, and so you can disagree on that, but then to go at his wife to make that point and bring race up in that type of manner in order to do so, completely out of bounds.
Okay, so the next question is going to be kind of specified for each one of you. I've never done this before. So I've never tried to do a question and then turn around and specify it for each and every one of you. And it has to do with what your sports are and who you guys root for. So that's how we're going to kind of structure this right at the moment. Here's the question. Ryan Clark said adding Aaron Rodgers was the worst case scenario for the Steelers. I would ask you, do you agree with that? I'll ask each one of you that. Cheese, I want it from a perspective from you because you are a Green Bay Packers guy where Aaron Rodgers used to be. Then Anthony, I'm going to ask you kind of from a Jets perspective because you're a Jets fan where Aaron Rodgers used to play. And then Gabriel, I'm going to kind of get it from you as a overall football enthusiast. All right. So here's the question. Ryan Clark said adding Aaron Rodgers was the worst case scenario for the Steelers. First of all, Cheese, do you agree with that statement?
No, not at all.
All right. And then where do you look at Aaron Rodgers because he used to play for your Packers? What kind of things do you think he brings to the Pittsburgh Steelers that will disagree with what Ryan Clark said?
So why Ryan Clark said that, I think we need to make note of that. He thinks that Rodgers will make them good enough where they can't pick high and get a franchise quarterback. But here's the thing. Their roster is good enough. Even with Mason Rudolph, to me, they won't pick in the top 5, maybe not top 10, because they have a good roster. So basically what Ryan Clark wants is them to just lose, just tank. Is that what he's saying? And that's crazy. They started 10-3 last year. Most people don't remember this. They started 10-3. They were in first place for most of the year in the division. TJ Watt got hurt. The defense collapsed. They collapsed. They lost 5 straight, including the playoffs. But Aaron Rodgers is now a year removed from Achilles injury. He got off to a bad start with the Jets. He improved as the season went on. Year removed from Achilles injury. Yes, he's not that 45 touchdown MVP used to be, but he's still very good. He threw the same amount of touchdown passes as Josh Allen last year, 2 more than Patrick Mahomes. And he's going to have a better defense than he had with the Jets. To me, they're a playoff team. Are they a Super Bowl contender? Maybe. I don't know. But I think they're going to make the playoffs. And here's one more point. He took a 1-year, $13 million contract. How is that a bad decision? He could have probably made 30 or 40 million if he had gone to another team. So he took a huge discount. This is the best the Steelers could have done. And I think he's a slight upgrade over Russell Wilson. And they won 10 games last year with Russell Wilson. So,
okay. All right. I appreciate that analysis from the Packers side of things. So, Anthony, I'm going to ask you the original question, then we'll go into the Jets' perspective here for a second. So, again, Ryan Clark said adding Aaron Rodgers was the worst-case scenario for the Steelers. Do you agree with that statement, Anthony?
He was the best free agent quarterback available left, so the Steelers had to upgrade over Mason Rudolph. You know what Rodgers comes with. He comes with the baggage and stuff. Can he still play? I think he can still play. Towards the end of last season, he looked good. You know, the Jets are just a dysfunction. You know, I'm a Jets fan. I suffered through it. Woody Johnson meddling and all that crap. He's also around a good coaching staff in the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Jets don't have that, you know. And I think he will have a decent season. Do I think they're Super Bowl contenders? Not at all. Do I think they'll get to the playoffs? Yeah, maybe win 1 game, but that's it.
All right. So I'll put this up here, and I'm gonna answer the question before I put it on the screen. It depends on what it is. So ask me the question in this chat where you and I can see it, and then I'll decide. So I'll throw it up here. Possibly. It's one of those things to where you're not hijacking my show, but if I think it's a decent question, sure, I'll ask him. All right. So, Gabriel, we're going to go up to you. Ryan Clark said adding Aaron Rodgers was the worst case scenario for the Steelers. Do you agree with that statement?
No, that's too harsh. Worst case scenario, no. I view it as a lateral move from last year. I don't see the upside. I think you're going to be more or less in the same place. But worst case scenario, absolutely not. That would be someone like if they had signed Trevor Lawrence. Then we're saying worst case scenario. But yeah, this is it's a team that's limited, and it's a quarterback that's limited, and it's a team that does have a lot of good pieces, and we know what their floor is. But it's a team that's limited, like we saw last year with with Russell Wilson, and I think we're going to see more or less the same movie unfold this year with Aaron Rodgers. So what am I really saying? Will Howard, QB1 2027. Let's get it going.
I actually don't think Will Howard would be a bad choice. I really thought that if they went with Will Howard, I may actually watch a couple Steelers games because I'm a Buckeye guy. So even though I'm a Bengals fan too, as Cheese pointed out in one of his videos that we put up there on our spot at the 643 and Out Pod on X, you can go to. I'm all with Will Howard as well. So Gabriel, you know what? You're with Will Howard. I'm with Will Howard. Promote yourself there for a second. Where can we get you at on different platforms, sir?
Sure. On the X at SportsPost100 at Big Ten Gabriel, and we're right here, the 643 and Out Pod at the 643 and Out Pod on YouTube. Thank you, Michael.
No problem. Okay, so let me go back to Brady, and I will say this. No, I'm not going to ask him that question. No, I'm not going to put it up on the screen because this is a sports show, not a political show. And all of us agreed earlier that we don't want politics in our sports too much. And I would be a hypocrite if I then put a political question up on the board. So no, I won't do that. All right, but I will put up your other stuff, and I have been all day long. You know what? I actually like this question. I didn't think about bringing it up at this particular time, but we will do it later, and we'll have Cheese on back with us again when we do it, and we'll give him a chance to answer that question because I
spelled color
like
wrong.
Question.
They spelled color wrong.
Well, we can't all be great. So, and then here's the last one we've got up here. That is true. Maybe there's a reason for that, but maybe we'll answer it on another show. So, Cheese, I'm going to start with you. Aaron Rodgers in one sentence. What's Aaron Rodgers?
Aaron Rodgers is a complicated fella.
Okay. He's a complicated fella. All right. I like that. Anthony, I'll ask you the same thing. Describe Aaron Rodgers to me in one sentence. Brady did it. We'll put his up here in just a second. Anthony, tell me what you think about Aaron Rodgers in one sentence.
I agree with Brady. I'd call him a psychopath, to be honest with you.
Why would you call him a psychopath? That's like, axe murderer type of stuff, man.
He's not a psychopath.
His whole darkness shit, man. Who does that type of shit?
A guy with a lot of money.
Psychopaths don't talk about darkness. They don't.
All right, Gabriel, let's go up to you, buddy. So give me your description of Aaron Rodgers in one sentence. We got one more question that we're going to do here, and then we're going to bid everybody adieu for the night. We're, like I say, we're getting really close to 100 people, so keep those views coming, and I'm sure we'll get more stuff as they go along, and they're posted up later on all of our social media channels. Gabriel, Aaron Rodgers, one sentence.
Flawed hero. Was great in his prime individually. Did get a ring, but a lot since then. It's to be desired in terms of overall how he fits into a team.
Okay. I'm gonna take this one for a second. Not a big Aaron Rodgers fan, so I will give you Aaron Rodgers in my opinion in one sentence. Too much baggage for what he is on the field, at least currently. Would that have been my opinion 5 years ago? No, but it is now. And I think that's kind of the difference. When he was with the Packers, it's really good. Is he still a Hall of Fame quarterback? Yes. But now he's just got too much stuff going on, and I'm not into all of that for what the older guy is going to give you behind center. So that would be on my thing. Not enough on the field for the baggage he brings off the field. Okay, last question here. Cheese. I'm gonna start with you again because I got this off of your video. I think we plugged your stuff enough for one night, but we'll do it one more time. All right, and we'll say go to football with Cheese again. Anthony is over at what's your Twitter handle, Anthony?
The Jock 26.
Okay, so it's the Jock 26, right?
Yes.
Okay, so at the Jock 26, you can join his baseball community. Sir, what's the name of your baseball community?
Baseball Worldwide.
Baseball Worldwide. So, go over and see Cheese on his YouTube and go over and see Anthony at his X spot and join his big baseball community, right? So those are both our guests, and we certainly appreciate both of them being on. And Gabriel, I like you a lot too, or you wouldn't be on here week after week after week. So you're all right, buddy. Anyway, let's go to our last question. Cheese, in your Ryan Clark video, you say Aaron Rodgers makes the Steelers a playoff team. Then you went further in the video and said possibly even a Super Bowl contender. Explain, and then I'll ask the other two gentlemen if they agree or disagree with you. Why does Aaron Rodgers make the Steelers a playoff contender and possibly a Super Bowl contender?
Well, they made the playoffs last year with Russell Wilson. I think he's an upgrade. I don't think it's a huge upgrade, but it is an upgrade. And like I said, they started 10-3. They were winning the division for most of the year. They did collapse. When TJ Watt hurt his foot, it's like the defense changed. But they have a young offensive line, could be better this year. I think they're at least as good as last year and maybe a little better. So if Rodgers plays really well, if he plays more like he did with the Packers, I'm not saying MVP like Rodgers, but if he's better than he was last year, coming off the Achilles injury, it's tough sometimes the first year, then Steelers could be really good because I think they have one of the better defenses in the NFL. And I could see them starting 10-3 again.
All right. So you've explained it. Anthony, do you agree with Cheese? Do you think Aaron Rodgers immediately makes the Steelers a playoff contender?
Yes, but not Super Bowl contender.
Okay, so I was going to give my second. So playoff, yes. Yeah. Super Bowl, no, is what Anthony's saying.
You got Kansas City, Buffalo, Baltimore, all in the way of that. Broncos looked good last year. They made moves. It's going to be tough for the Steelers to make that type of run with those three teams in the way.
Okay. I'm going to put this back up here for just a second, and I want to say this. I appreciate the fact that you're going to sub over to his channel, and that's all we're after. We're trying to get other people. Gabriel and I love to collaborate with other people. We've collaborated with Cheese on more than one occasion. Next week, we're going to collab with Anthony again, pull him up on the stage, and let him do his takes on a lot of other things with us. This is what we like to do. We like to put people and their opinions up here on our stage, on our show, The Sportz Truth. Okay, so Anthony said yes to a playoff, but no to a Super Bowl. Gabriel, do you agree with Anthony, or do you agree more with Cheese when he's going to say playoff and Super Bowl?
You have to take and out of it. Listen, I think this is a team that won't break the Tomlin streak of above 500. I think that still happens. But they made this playoffs last year, and it was a far cry of them being hopeful of going for any further than what they did. And so I understand Rodgers had a lot of stats. Let's also acknowledge there was a lot of empty calories at the end, and the team wasn't positioned to win. They were always forcing and trying to claw their way back. And so how much of that do you put on Rodgers? How much do you put on the team as the whole? Fair enough. But I just don't see any upgrade from what we got out of Russell Wilson last year. And Russell Wilson also flawed. I'm not anticipating a great year for him either. He's certainly more mobile at this point than Aaron Rodgers, and Russell Wilson isn't exactly mobile himself at this point in his career either. So I just see it largely as a zero-sum game, what the Steelers did at the QB position.
Okay. Man, gentlemen, I certainly appreciate each and every one of you. Gabe, I'm going to start with you, go to Anthony, and then go to Cheese. Tell me where we can find you at so that all of our listeners out there can then go get some great content from each of the three of you. Gabriel, go ahead, buddy. Where can we get you at?
Yeah, on X, we're at Big Ten Gabriel at Sports Post 100, and then here every week at 643 and Out Pod with Michael.
All right, Anthony, tell us it one more time, buddy. Where can they get you at on your social media platforms?
I'm mostly on Twitter, so at the Jock26. If you're a big baseball fan, come join Baseball Worldwide. Growing every day.
All right, and we have joined that at the 643 and Out Pod, are a member there on Baseball Worldwide, and I would encourage everyone else to do the same. Lots of different people, you get lots of different takes, just like we're doing right now. Some of them we don't necessarily all have to agree with each other to respect each other. So that's one of the things that we do here on the show, is we collaborate with different people in the sports realm. Cheese, one more time, buddy, where can we get you at on everything that we got going on social media, bud?
Real quick, Aaron Rodgers, 28 touchdowns. Russell Wilson, only 16 last year. Just saying. And happy birthday, Michael. Happy, 29th. And
Sure.
it's at Football with Cheese. You can see it on the screen. CHEEZ. It's my YouTube channel, and X at Football Cheese. You can follow me there. And I follow back all sports fans.
All right, fantastic. We certainly appreciate each and every one of you guys on the show with us today. Thank you both. Like we said, I'm sure we're going to have Cheese on more before it's all said and done. And let's put a little music in the background now as we say goodbye. Because it sounds great in my headphones, but it must sound different out there in the world. So anyway, we'll have to get some of those audio things fixed. But you have been listening to The Sportz Truth. Myself and Gabriel, the top two sexy guys up here in the corner. Well, one of us is. We are the 643 and Out guys. And then you've got Anthony bottom right, and you've got Cheese bottom left. Go ahead and support them, and we thank them for being on with us today. All right. Once again, as we always say, at the end of every broadcast, ladies and gentlemen, the only thing that's fair in life is a baseball hit between the third and first base line. Good evening, guys. Got to get his Jalen Royal sign out one more time.